you say hold up? Is this,
That's the proclamation.
who's giving? May, Hogan, Simmons, May, Hopperger. Hey, you're doing this one? Hey, I'm gonna give you the two at the same time. Thank you all for being here tonight. We'll begin with the Board of County Commissioners meeting, regular meeting, June 5th, 2025. The Board of County Commissioners allows any person to speak regarding an item on the agenda. The speaker is limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise determined by the chairperson to allow sufficient time for all speakers. The speaker shall refrain from abuse or profane remarks, disruptive outbursts, protests, or other conduct which interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. All right, call to order. Commissioner May, invocation, what were you thinking?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, Pastor Riley is not here. We do have a minister in our presence. Horace, would you please do the invocation? Excuse me. Horace, sorry, she didn't want. Who? Reverend Powell. Is John Powell here? Pastor Powell, would you please do it?
Oh, come on
Thank
up,
you, Pastor
Reverend Powell. Thank you. It's good. We have too many ministers to deal with in here. This is awesome. Good problem to have. All right, please rise.
Dear Heavenly Father, once again, we come before you with bowed heads and humble heart. We ask you, Lord, to give us that guidance and the leadership that we need, Lord. We thank you, Father, for allowing us the opportunity one more time to come together, Lord, in fellowship. Father, we ask you, Lord, help us, Lord, to reason the situations out. Look on the circumstances. Father, you do these things for us to be ever mindful, to give your name the praise, and the glory and honor shall be thine. And all of God's people said, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Mr. Stroberger, will you lead us in the pledge?
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, we'll go down the, Commissioner Berry, any items you need to add to the agenda?
No, sir.
Commissioner May?
No, Mr. Chairman, I don't, but I think that we had an agenda item as it relates to discretionary. I want to get a clear understanding tonight of what we can and cannot spend money on in terms of our discretionary, because there's some things I have a waiting to put on the agenda. And I reply back from staff and legal, no one has a clear answer on what we can and cannot do. So I want to make sure we have that conversation with the clerk tonight.
Madam Clerk, are you willing to have that discussion at the end with us? I did not know about this till now, but do you mind having that conversation?
I've put everything I had to say in writing. You can look at it. You've got an attorney. You need to follow your attorney's rules. We have talked. We have come up with a policy. There are obviously things that I will not pay. You know what those are. I've put it in writing. You wanna
Okay,
have the
we'll have a
discussion,
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, it's not for me to have the conversation with the clerk. It's for us to have a conversation with staff and legal.
Sure.
To process things that need to be paid. And so I want to make sure that we have a clear understanding from our administration and our legal, what can and cannot be processed.
Okay, we'll add that at the end of the agenda. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Commissioner May. And thank you, Madam Clerk. I hope if we have questions, you can clarify them for us. All right, Commissioner Stroberger.
No, Chairman.
Okay, Commissioner Hopperger? No, sir. Okay, and I don't have anything as well. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as prepared?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Please vote. Okay, motion passes 5-0. Commissioner Forum, Commissioner Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In light of the fact that we have a lot of folks in attendance this evening, we may be here for a long meeting. Just keep the comments brief. It was nice to have Senator Scott in town last week, as well as Congressman Petronis to talk about hurricane readiness. We are getting into that season, and we want to thank Frank Patty Sr. and Jr. for hosting us there. And it was a great event. Nice to see a number of folks there, as well as Representative Andrade and Salzman. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Berry. Commissioner May?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll try to be brief as possible. To Cornelius, Surlis, and Marquita, who was Marcia, who was a counselor at West Florida Tech, who suddenly lost her life. Our prayers and condolences are to that family, and I want to take a brief moment to wish all of the graduates who graduated, either from Pensacola State, UWF, or one of our finest Escambia County schools. Congratulations to all of our graduates, and certainly want to thank many of our directors and our staff people for taking a risk and a chance on training through our summer intern program. The next group of leaders, I've had the opportunity to go through this week and see a lot of young people who are getting great opportunities. And so certainly want to thank Clara Long and her staff. I think we had over 1,700 children to apply. Unfortunately, we were only able to employ about 175, but kudos to all of our department heads and all of our staff that are taking time out of their schedules to recruit and build up the next generation of leaders for Escambia County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner May. Commissioner Stroberger?
Good evening, everybody. Tomorrow is the 81st anniversary of D-Day, the invasion. There are more than 4,400 Allied troops that were killed on D-Day. 2,501, I think, were American. We've all seen those World War II movies. They're pretty terrible. I bet they were probably worse than that. So thank you to the greatest generation. There are a couple Memorial Day celebrations since our last meeting at Veterans Memorial Park. Commissioner May joined me for that, and that was a great tribute. Captain Tim Kinsella was the guest speaker. He always does a great job speaking. The next day was Memorial Day, and I was at Barrancas National Cemetery, where Captain Doug White, the Commodore of Training Wing 6, was the speaker, and he did a fantastic job too. Barrancas National Cemetery is 196 years old, and in 4 years they'll be celebrating 200 years. The cemetery's first burial was in April 1829, and I think we bury 6 to 8, is that right? 6 to 8 veterans every day at Barrancas. There was a representative from the Defense POW MAI accounting agency at Barrancas that day, and she said there are more than 81,000 military personnel that are still unaccounted for, 81,000. We buried our last soldier in Jacksonville, Florida, Second Lieutenant Alfred J. Hamway, in 2024. So let me tell you his story a little bit. In January 1945, Lieutenant Hamway was deployed to what is now Papua New Guinea. He was reported missing in action on January 20th, 1945, when his A-20 Havoc bomber was shot down. Lieutenant Hamway was finally accounted for on May 20th, 2024, 79 years after he was reported missing in action. So, rest in peace, Lieutenant Hamway. There was a VIP reception at Valerie's house that Hassan and I went to. We aren't VIPs, But it was a showcase to show off their new kitchen, which was made possible by Impact 100. Thank you, Impact 100. It was very nice. If you don't know what Valerie House is all about, go to valeriehouse.org/Pensacola, see how they help heal grieving kids. Fantastic organization. Let's see. I thought it was the last thing, but it's not. Second to last thing. Monday was Congressman Donald's Day, sort of. I was with him at Navy Federal Credit Union, and then again in the evening for a reception with my colleagues. We were all there. In between, he visited Sheriff Simmons. Congressman Donald also has agreed to be the keynote speaker at the Republican Executive Committee's Lincoln Reagan Day dinner this spring. So if you're going, you better get your tickets early. It's going to sell out. The last thing I added was the military forum. I got to go to that, and I got to speak at that. And it's about preserving the military here along the Panhandle from Panama City here. And that was a privilege to be there. And I'm going to be joining that group, the Defense Coalition, to ensure I don't know, what would I call it, the continued history of the military here in the Panhandle. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to take a moment to celebrate a few things that we have going on in the county, specifically in public safety. Tonight, we will be voting to add 11 positions inside of EMS, so that will allow us to have a better response time and more coverage for our community, and I think that's something that we can all celebrate. We are also voting to allow Baptist Hospital to do interfacility transfers, so that'll be the third of the 3 largest hospitals in our area that will be able to do their own interfacility transfers, which will also result in better response times for our community. And this partnership is so important to make sure that we have the patient outcomes that we need. I also want to thank the entire board for the conversation we had this morning surrounding the Baptist property and how to convert that into affordable housing for our community. There was great discussion. We might not all agree on everything, but it was very collegiate. It was very collaborative, and I think there were some great points brought up by everyone. So thank you all for that. This past week, I had the opportunity to meet with the interim president for UWF, Manny Diaz, and I am so excited for everything that is on the horizon for UWF. It is going to be, they're going to continue their investment in our community, and I'm excited to continue to support that and all that they do for Escambia County as a whole. So I'm looking forward to what is next for the university.
Thank you very much. We're having some technical difficulties up here. If you can't figure that out, I appreciate folks trying to work around me because the computers, for some reason, went down. But thank you, Peter. We'll work around that tonight. I just wanted to basically, a lot of the stuff that was said already, I just want to say kudos to, I'm sorry I missed Senator Scott and Congressman Petronis's visit to Patty's. I did get to see the video of Congressman Petronis jumping out of a plane. I don't know what he was doing, but that was fun. And then the Northwest Defense Coalition, Steve, I heard that was a great meeting, and I heard it went over very well. So other than that, I won't say too much tonight. Memorial Day obviously passed, and as obviously a day for us to remember those that have fallen. And I just want to say happy birthday to my wife this week, and that's all I have. County Administrator, do you have anything you'd like to comment on?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity. One of the big activities that's been going on here in the county building is the work on the budget with Stephen Hall and all of our departments. Past 2 weeks, we've been meeting all day, every day, going through each line item in every departmental budget. And it's a yeoman's task. Stephen stays very busy. He has other tasks that has fell in his lap along the way. But I appreciate Stephen Hall, and I appreciate the departments and the managers and department heads and their willingness to work with us as we plow through the budget and get it prepared to present. This past Tuesday, I was out at the road department, and we did an employee cookout, appreciation cookout. And it was just a good atmosphere there. Everybody was in good spirits. It was good to see all the high-vis shirts lined up waiting on their hamburger and hot dog. They do a lot of good work, and they do it quietly a lot of times. We're still recovering from a rain event a couple of weeks back there in the north end, and Jamie and his guys have been doing some huge work up there and really saving the taxpayers a lot of money by being able to do it in-house and not have to contract it out. And it's also more expedient, so I appreciate them. We were also out at the beach before Memorial Day, appreciating those employees out there. We did a hamburger and hot dog cookout out there. It's always a big weekend. They pulled it off fabulously. No issues, no phone calls. Miss Melanie Luna, I appreciate her coming out, meeting the troops, and taking a ride and seeing how we do things out there. It's important. And the White Island renourishment that's going on right now is a big deal. It's a big project, $30 million project, and it's all grant money. And that's because of Chips Kirschfeld and his crew. And Chips, I don't know how much grant money you've pulled in over the years, but it's got to be close to $1 billion. But you guys do a great job. All of our employees are fantastic. They're working hard for the citizens, and I appreciate them. And Commissioner Strohberger, I believe you have a birthday coming up. So happy birthday.
Oh, no wonder
June the 8th.
And I don't know if you know this, Wes, but Commissioner Strohberger got a new puppy. He's been kind of quiet. He didn't want to share that with us tonight.
Not for my birthday, but
Show us all the pictures, Steve. Just kidding.
Mr. Chairman, that's all I got.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, Steve needs a puppy. And thank you, actually, on White Island. I should have mentioned that. Chip, I'm getting a lot of accolades from the neighbors. The thing looks like a mountain going out there, and people are happy, so that's a good job. All right, folks, do we have a motion to adopt the proclamations? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so please vote. All right, motion passes 5-0. Jeremy Johnson, if we could please have you present Nick Simmons with Employee of the Month. Thank you.
I'm
Oh,
sure.
actually,
I'm sure he would love to.
Sorry, I
Next
read
time,
it
Jeremy.
wrong.
Next time. No, glad to be here this evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Nick Simmons from Extension Services Department, and really honored to present Jeremy Johnson, one of our 4-H program assistants, as the Employee of the Month for June 2025. Jeremy's been with us, I guess going on probably 8 years now, and from the day he started, you knew he loved what he did, and you see that each and every day that he shows up to work. The kids that he works with, he has truly changed lives in the time that he has been here, and he's reestablished our reach of 4-H and extension throughout the entire county, reestablishing relationships with the youth centers at NAS and Corey, city and county community centers. We have really expanded our reach, and much of that is due to Jeremy and the love that he has for this community and our youth. And I think if you would cut him, he would bleed green, 4-H green. So I'm proud to present him with the proclamation recognizing him as the Employee of the Month. Whereas Escambia County has established an Employee of the Month program to recognize one employee who represents various departments. And whereas Jeremy Johnson, a 4-H program assistant in the Extension Services Department, began his employment with the county on March 28, 2022, and is selected as the Employee of the Month for June 2025 for the standards of excellence he displays in the performance of his duties. And whereas Jeremy was a staff member at Florida 4-H Camp Cherry Lake and 4-H Camp Tempucci starting in October 2017 before moving to UF IFAS Extension, Escambia County. And whereas in his role as a 4-H program assistant, he has developed Escambia County's 4-H program, contributed new and innovative program ideas, and provided leadership and expansion opportunities to district, statewide, and military 4-H programs. He has created 8 new 4-H clubs in Escambia County with 2024 and 2025 enrollment at 195 people, introduced 4-H to 3 local schools, and began after-school 4-H spin clubs at countywide community centers. And whereas he has resurrected a stagnant 4-H shooting sports program through collaboration with 3 4-H agents, securing program grant funding of over $72,000 from internal and external sources from 2018 through 2024. And whereas Jeremy's positive energy and committed ambassadorship has led to strengthened community partner relationships and re-energized community support for 4-H. And whereas his volunteers as 4-H club leaders for 2 clubs the Sea Turtle Baby Shower, and Waterfront Mission Food Distribution. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Escambia County, Florida hereby commend and congratulates Mr. Jeremy Johnson in his selection as Employee of the Month, June 2025. Congratulations, Jeremy.
Jeremy, you want to say something?
Well, thank you for this opportunity, for helping me make the best better, and I'd like to thank my grandfather for this.
Thank you. Thank you. Good job.
We've got several members of our extension staff here that wanted to come celebrate with Jeremy. Get a picture?
Yeah, do you have them come up and take a picture with
Oh,
y'all?
I'm sorry, I didn't see you behind me. Okay.
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah. Y'all come on up. Squeeze in tight.
Congratulations. Our next proclamation, Rob Hogan, if you could come up and present. Is Mary Autry here? Okay, thank you. We can make.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Great party last week. Sorry I missed it.
Okay.
Mary has been a fixture here at the county for 29 years. How many years have you been over at the Judicial Building?
The whole 29.
All 29?
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, she is. She's a fifth floor. So it's amazing. 29 years is amazing. I retired once from public service. I doubt very much I'm going to make it to 29 though. So I'm going to read this to you. Mary Autry has served Escambia County as a custodial worker with the Facilities Management Department very faithfully for 29 years. Mary was hired in February 19th, 1996. That's the 1900s. Do you realize that? As a custodial worker. Mary spent the majority of her 29 years working in the Ernie Lee McGahee building and the MC Blanchard Judicial Building. She's earned respect from her coworkers, court staff, judges, attorneys, and security. She's also played a vital role in training the new custodial workers that come into our department. Whereas she has firmly established herself as an outstanding custodial worker and employee during her 29 years of service to the citizens of Escambia County, Mary was awarded the Employee Accomplishes Goals Through Leadership and Excellence, the Eagle Award, on June 7th, 2005. Mary was also awarded the Successful Achievement Award, which is the STAR Award, on June 28th, 2006. She was selected as Employee of the Month for the Facilities Management Department in October 2014. Escambia County has been severely impacted by several hurricanes and storms. I guess so, over 29 years, huh?
Yeah.
Which caused damage to the Ernie Lee McGahee building and the MC Blanchard Judicial buildings. Mary and the custodial staff were on site cleaning up any damage caused by wind-driven rains, which affected both buildings. Because of her commitment and dedication, the building's occupants could return to work in a timely manner and continue to serve the citizens of Escambia County. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Escambia County, Florida commends and congratulates Mary on her retirement. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners expresses its appreciation to Mary Autry for 29 years of faithful and dedicated service as a county employee. Board of County Commissioners, Escambia, Florida. Michael S. Kohler, Chair, District 2. Ashley Hoffberger, Vice Chair, District 4. Steve Stroberger, District 1. Lumen May, District 3. Stephen Barry, District 5. Thank you, Mayor.
I told Mary I'd make this short and sweet, but when she started here, I was 29 years old. I'm not 29 years old anymore. But we had a luncheon for Mary last week, and it was amazing to see the amount of love and respect that she had just as a person. I spoke to a lot of people in the room, and it was one of those things where you ask them, you know, what made Mary special? Mary does what she says she's going to do, and she's always going to be there if you need her. And that come from just the staff. Yeah. That wasn't even the judges and everybody else that showed up that, you know, congratulated her. And so 29 years is hard to find people like you. And we definitely appreciate you for what you've done. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary. Mary, would you like to make a comment?
Yes, I'd just like to say, first and foremost, I want to give thanks to God, who's the head of my life. And I just want to thank everybody for the years that I've been here, and the commissioners and the part they played, my co-workers, my supervisors. And it's been ups and it's been down, but through it all, I made it. So I just want to thank everybody.
Good job. Thank you for your service, ma'am.
Right here.
Thank you, Mary.
Good job, Mary. We need more Marys in this world. All right, Commissioner May, if you could come to the podium and with Reverend Matthews. That doesn't look like Reverend Matthews to me. That looks like Elson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, Reverend Matthews is 96 years old, and unfortunately, his health has prohibited him from being here tonight. He certainly wanted to be here, but his dear friend and who serves with his organization, Ellison Bennett, a civil rights leader as well, is here to accept this, and I hope that you will let H.K. Matthews know how much this community appreciates all that he has done, because there are people like me that would not be sitting in this seat had it not been for the efforts of H.K. Matthews. Thank you, Ellison. Whereas Reverend Howard Conrad Matthews was born on February 7, 1928 in Snow Hill, Alabama, and was raised by his grandmother. He graduated from Snow Hill Institute in Wilcox County, Alabama, and graduated with a bachelor's degree from A&M University in Huntsville, Alabama, whereas he began his civil rights crusade in the late 1950s after arriving in Pensacola, Florida in 1965. He marched over the Edmund Pettus Bridge with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on Bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama, for voting rights. Whereas throughout the 1960s and 70s, he organized successful boycotts of sit-ins at segregated lunch counters right here on Palafox Street, as well as in Montgomery, Alabama. When boycotting public schools, he organized freedom schools in homes and churches to allow African American children the access to education. Whereas despite being jailed, threatened numerous times, Reverend Matthews drew on his everlasting faith and his time in the Korean War, persevering against the odds to expand civil rights for African Americans in southwestern Alabama, northwest Florida, and Pensacola, Florida, and the Panhandle. Whereas he served as the pastor of Mount Zion AME Church and later served as the presiding elder of the South Alabama Conference, Bruton District of the AME Zion Church. Whereas Whereas Reverend Matthews has received numerous awards and accolades for his contributions, the most pivotal one was his 2014 acceptance into the Florida Civil Rights Hall of Fame. Whereas for Reverend Matthews, this was never about recognition as a leader, but a desire to fight for a better world and glorify God for all of our community. Now therefore it be proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Escambia County urges residents to commemorate the contributions of Reverend H.K. Matthews towards African American civil rights in Escambia County, Florida, Alabama, Conecuh County, and Evergreen, Alabama. Board of County Commissioners, Michael Kohler, Chair, Ashley Holberger, Vice Chair, Stephen Stroberger, District 1, Lumen May, District 3, Stephen Berry, District 5. Thank you both for your service.
Ellison, you want to say anything? I'm scared to give you the mic.
As Commissioner Kolar said, I'm not Reverend Matthews. He's honored. He's in his right mind, but
Good, Ellison.
health issues. He wanted to be here tonight. I spoke with his wife this morning. Yesterday was a bad day for him. I wouldn't describe the health issues. He's 97 years old. His mind is sharp, but his body is beginning to fail. Thank you for this proclamation.
You're welcome, Ellison, and thanks for your comments. Commissioner May, you have something you'd like to share?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Ellison, thank you for requesting and urging that we do this to give Reverend Matthews his flowers while he lived, someone who fought for civil rights, for justice, to segregation, to integration, and to still have him in our presence. Whether he can get out of the bed and be here tonight, we know that his spirit is with us, and we will continue to honor him as long as he lives. And after he lives, as long as we have a microphone, we will honor Dr. King. We'll honor Dr. Matthews. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks, Ellison. I appreciate it, buddy. Commissioner Hoffberger, you're up. Visit Pensacola, are they in the audience? Oh, Darren, if you'd come on up. Or your team, I don't know, I'm not sure. Okay, bring whoever you want, Darren.
Bring them all.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I am very excited to present this proclamation. Whereas the travel industry is essential to the success of every industry and will continue to be a critical part of Pensacola, Florida's economy, development, and workforce. And whereas travel is an economic powerhouse for every state and destination across the country with an economic output of $2.9 trillion, supporting 15 million American jobs, the economic impact within Escambia County resulted in saving each household $513 in local taxes annually and supported over 18,700 jobs. And whereas Visit Pensacola serves as a leader in economic development of Escambia County by attracting visitors, generating income, jobs, and tax revenue, which help make the community a better place to live, work, play, and visit. And whereas travel spending supports vibrant and safe communities in Pensacola by generating $171.7 million in state and local tax revenue in 2024 to support essential services such as education, emergency response, public safety, and more. And whereas travel enables success for all industries, including manufacturing, agricultural, defense, healthcare, and more, by driving sales growth, innovation, education, and operations that power our economy, our nation, and Pensacola, Florida. And whereas America's travel industry cannot be globally competitive without maximizing growth in leisure, business, and international inbound travelers, increasing travel to and within the Pensacola Bay Area, and the United States drives our economy to a more prosperous future. And whereas travel is an essential industry and we must continue to communicate that growing travel leads to growing economy growth, benefiting businesses, fostering mutual understanding, and connects the nation. Now, therefore, let it be proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Escambia County, Florida, hereby declare the week of May 4th through May 10th, 2025, as National Tourism and Travel Week in Escambia County, Florida, and celebrate the impact of travel, hospitality, and tourism industries in the Escambia County area. The Board of County Commissioners, Escambia County, Florida, Chairman Commissioner Mike Kohler, Vice Chair Ashley Hoffberger, District 1 Stephen Stroberger, District 3 Lumen May, and District 5 Stephen Barry. Congratulations!
Thank you. Darren, you have anything you want to say, or you're just going to, I mean, I'm not, you don't have to, it's up to you.
I'll just say a few words.
Okay, sure, go ahead. Love to hear it.
National Travel and Tourism Week is just an opportunity for us to recognize the power of tourism for Escambia County and how important it is, and the 18,700 employees that it serves. It's really entwined with our community. And my favorite part of the week is where we recognize our hospitality heroes. Commissioner Hoffberger was able to be there for that luncheon, and we had dozens of applications from throughout the county. So it's really rewarding to hear about the work that's being done on the front lines and how these individuals go above and beyond, not only to provide these really unique experiences and take care of our visitors, but each other as well. So I just wanted to have, we had most of our team here tonight, really dedicated team, some of the best people I've ever worked with, and I just wanted the commissioners and everybody in the room to know how hard that they work and the pride that they have in telling the story about the kind of experience you have in the Pensacola area and Escambia County. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Darren, I want to thank you and Nicole and obviously Tia Robinson and what you do on cultural tourism and sports tourism. They both are near and dear to my heart. Tia does a great job. You do a great job, and I really appreciate you. I mean, probably, and since I've been on this board, your emphasis on holistic tourism, particularly cultural tourism and sports tourism, has not gone unnoticed. So really thank you and your team for what you're doing for that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Darren. Good job. Commissioner Barry, if Eugene Bannon could come to the front. Oh, I see you. Thank you. Come on up.
Absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it's an honor to be able to do this, again this year. I see my friends with Amateur Radio, and it'll be another lovely event out at Ashton Brossenham. So I look forward to being able to get the kids out there with y'all again this year. Whereas amateur radio operators are celebrating over a century of the miracle of human voice broadcast over airwaves, amateur radio has continued to provide a bridge between peoples, societies, and countries by creating friendships and the sharing of ideas. Amateur radio operators have also provided countless hours of community services, both in emergencies and to other local organizations throughout these decades, wholly uncompensated. The county recognizes the services that amateur radio people also provide to our emergency response organizations, including the Escambia County Public Safety Department. And the same individuals further demonstrate their value in public assistance by providing free radio communications for local parades, bike-a-thons, walk-a-thons, fairs, and other charitable public events. Escambia County, Florida recognizes and appreciates the diligence of these hams who also serve as weather spotters in the Skywarn program of the National Weather Service, and the American Radio Relay League is the National Association for Radio in the United States of America, whereas the ARRL Amateur Radio Field Day exercise will take place again on June 28th and June 29th and is a 24-hour emergency preparedness activity and it's a demonstration of the radio amateur skills and readiness to provide self-supporting communications without further infrastructure being required. So that means at no charge, and we certainly do appreciate that. So therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Escambia County, Florida hereby proclaims the week of June 23 through June 30, 2025 as Amateur Radio Week. And thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to thank the board for this honor and remind everybody out there that when the weather really gets nasty and starts to tear our communities up, that we got your back. Our title claims that we're amateurs, but I'm here to tell you that when the tides turn, we're no longer amateurs. We're out there keeping the communications going and helping out all the first responders and whatever it is that they need. So again, once again, I want to thank you very much for this proclamation.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yes. Thanks for reminding me. Also like to remind everybody out here, on Saturday, the 28th, we'll all be out there with our radios. We'll field all of your questions, show you how we work, how the radios work, and introduce you to ham radio. So come on out.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Ashton Brosnan Park.
That's right. It's Ashton Brosnan Park on 10 Mile Road.
Yep.
So-
Starting at 5 o'clock in the morning, going till 5 o'clock next day.
Yeah, we'll be there all day long and into the night, through the night actually, to Sunday morning. So again, come on down. Thank you.
Well, thank you and congratulations. Okay, that concludes adoption and ratification of the proclamation. We're at written communication. 8.1, Commissioner May, this is in your district. We have one speaker. Mr. Anthony Kennedy, are you in the audience? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a screen here, so I'm kind of going old school. Is Mr. Kennedy in the audience? Anthony Kennedy? Okay, would you like to come up and make a comment on this property, sir? It's fine.
Good evening. I had some liens put on to a property that I owned at 3508 West Scott Street that came from 4413 Montclair. That was a family house that I was given to my wife, and don't know what happened with all of that, but the taxes wasn't paid and they put a violation on Scott Street. I'm asking it all to be removed.
So, Mr. Chairman, obviously, what we've done is, in the past, is we have looked at waiving the soft costs. So.
I'm pulling it up. How much is it?
It's a total of $15,150. The administrative fees is $8,100. The hard cost would be $550 plus an abatement cost. And I guess the county did some abatement on your property, correct?
I don't know nothing about it, sir.
Yeah, I think you called me a while
Yes.
back. Yep, you did. And so I think you're out of town when you called me. So, Mr. Chairman, what I would move is to waive the $8,100 administrative fees and to keep the hard costs. And that's precedent of what we've done. We've always had the hard costs, but I think that we could waive the soft costs. So I would move that we waive the $8,100 and that we keep intact the court costs and the abatement costs, which would be approximately $7,050.
And that's both on Chantilly and Market. Is the property in compliance now, sir?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, please vote. Okay, motion passes 5-0, sir. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you, sir.
Thank Anthony. Good. I remember when you played ball, man.
Okay, we're at Rent Commission 8.2. We have one speaker, Leila Sanchez. Is Leila in the audience? Come on up, Leila. I believe this is in your district, Commissioner Berry.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, ma'am. What would you like to share with us? what's on
I
your
just
mind?
wanted to try to get some of my liens cut off. We got liens put on in 2018. My husband got deported. We were overseas. We had squatters. They destroyed and stole everything. So the county did have to come out and clean out, which I'm not fighting that at all. I just wanted to see if I could get some of it. I'm trying to sell it and it's intact. I've worked my butt off for 2 days, excuse my language, to clean it and get it right. And so I'm just asking for
And
my lien.
you've paid $1,017 towards this, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Commissioner Berry, what would you like to
Thank
do?
you, Mr. Chairman. So just the 1,017 you paid toward it, what was the context of paying that? We don't often see kind of an odd figure like that. How'd you arrive at that number?
Of what? Of paying?
Paying that $1,017.
Well, I was paying every month. I've been paying every
Okay.
month for 4
Oh, okay.
years.
Okay.
Trying to get it down is
Okay.
just not, because you pay like $50 or $100, it's not going to take everything down. So I haven't seen it move at all. And so that's why I'm trying to plead to see if I can get, I know there's 4,000 that can't be touched, which is understandable for the county.
Okay,
But I was
so-
just trying to see if y'all could work. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so it appears as if you paid $1,017.48. That's the accumulated periodic payments that you've been making?
Yes, sir.
And that's, honestly, we don't see that frequently, so that's good. That's something.
I'm trying.
Yes, ma'am. And the hard costs were $4,335. If, when you take into account the payments made, it would leave a balance of $3,317.52 that's owed towards the hard costs, which, and that phrase just means that that's what the public has spent on the property.
Yes, sir.
And we do, I think we all feel a responsibility to collect that money.
Yes, sir.
So my motion would be to, if you would pay within the appropriate time frame, $3,317.52.
I can pay it by Monday.
Then we would,
the property's in compliance, all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, all right.
then we would waive the fines that are also associated with the property. That's my motion.
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
All right, please vote.
Thank you, sir.
Motion
Thank you,
passes
ma'am.
5-0. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
That was good there. All right. We have one more item on rent communication. It's also in your, we have no public speakers on this, Commissioner May.
So is Tim Day here? Or someone? oh, Tim, can you give me an update on this property?
Yes, sir. So I'll start that currently the property is in compliance. Ultimately, this is actually another case where significant payments have been made towards the total liens. The total liens that accrued on this property was approximately $67,000. And to date, they've made payments of almost $55,000 towards those liens. So they've made significant contributions towards the soft costs as well as the hard costs.
All right, waive it. Commissioner May, they've done more than their share, I think.
Okay, so I guess, that was, when they bidded this out, and here's my problem is, when you buy tax deed, it's buyer beware. Yeah, it's not that it was your homesteaded property. Honestly, they hadn't come in, they hadn't contacted me. Have they contacted you?
I have not had any
Okay, so I'm going to move just to drop this. And check it out. Can I just move to drop it?
I think they put 55,000 in what we just voted on. I think that's reasonable.
Well, the problem is it was the overage of a tax deed sale.
Yeah,
It wasn't personally what they paid.
Tim, you're good with that?
Yes, I'm good with it.
Is that your motion?
If that was a
I'll
motion, I
second
second it. Yep.
Okay, please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, everyone. All right. Did the clerk's office receive proof of publication for the public hearing on the agenda and board's weekly meeting schedule?
Mr. Chairman, the clerk's office has received all proofs.
Move to waive the reading.
Second.
Please vote. Motion passes 5-0. At this point, board, I'm gonna go a little bit different. I'm gonna pull CAT 1.4 up, and we'll discuss that. We have 6 speakers. I would like John Moore to speak on OLF 8, if he's in the audience.
What is that, Mr. Chairman?
CAT 1.1-4, they have to catch a plane. All right, go ahead, Mr. Moore.
Good evening. John Moore, Beulah resident. It's hard to believe this county contributes $10 million annually to promote tourism, but not a single dollar to find a group who has successfully completed a DPZ master plan community. Mr. Henderson and his team have weathered the storm. They're the last dog standing. I imagine I share bittersweet feelings of relief with others that this part of the journey may be coming to an end. I'm confident Mr. Henderson and his team have the resources and talent to build beautiful developments, and have no doubts they will do great things in Beulah. I've seen examples of their work that are truly impressive. I'm convinced of his passion and drive to deliver an incredible product here in Escambia County. As a local resident, his project will be his legacy, good or bad. What concerns me is the procedure tonight, moving forward to vote on a contract in incredibly short order. Does the community deserve an opportunity to participate in this late hour, or at a minimum, discuss and digest the finer details of this agreement? The documents on the agenda tonight oppose themselves and deny the citizens and our elected leaders time to deliberate and adjust items that cause doubt and confusion. A few examples. The Declaration of Restrictive Covenant states, in part, to preserve the effect of the master plan and that the property be held subject to the master plan restrictions, all of which are set forth below. It goes on to reference all exhibits of the OLF 8 ordinance codified into Escambia County law. Section 7.2.A of the Purchase and Sale Agreement directly contradicts this effort by stating the parties agree that the DPZ design code must be modified to account for market, economic, and engineering conditions not contemplated when the DPZ design code was created. How can a restrictive deed or covenant be adopted and enforced against an approved future change of a design code with unknown metrics? Let's at least define the areas of expected changes first. Further confusion is generated in Section 7.2.A of the Purchase and Sales Agreement. Quote, purchaser will contract with DPZ Co-Design or another design firm to prepare an update to the DPZ design code. Update implies that undisclosed changes to the design code or master plan are imminent, but they aren't revealed. What are those changes? Are they large, nominal? What areas of the design code needs updating? Why not DPZ? Will the public be allowed to view and confer over these changes before contracts are signed? An important aspect of having a restrictive deed or covenant is having firm margins and boundaries in place. This describes moving goalposts. Why include a restrictive covenant if there is no firm ordinance or statute to anchor it? There are other examples. All we're asking is that these documents and intentions be more transparent before you move on voting on this item. You, the community, the county, and developers have been through a lot to get to this place. This is a generational opportunity to do something truly incredible for the Panhandle and a community that has seen such drastic change. We only get one chance at this. Can't we take the time to get it right? Thank you.
Is Teresa Blackwell in the audience? I saw her. Oh, there you are. Teresa, you're up. And I don't see Larry Downs, but he's on deck if he's in the audience.
Trying to
Go ahead, Teresa.
trying to decide which version I want to go with. Okay, good evening. Teresa Blackwell, and I'm here from Beulah. A community which has worked tirelessly for years to shape the future of OLF 8. Tonight, I want to make one thing clear. The DPZ master plan and design code are not outdated. They are evergreen, based on urban planning principles that have served communities for centuries. The residents of Beulah participated in crafting this vision alongside DPZ Co-Design, a world-class urban design planning firm. This plan prioritizes walkability, mixed-use spaces, and human-centered development, things that are crucial for Beulah's future. The proposed contract for the OLF 8 sale says an architect engineering firm can be substituted for DPZ, even though urban planning is just one of about 20 things that they do. The buyer initially committed to working with DPZ on necessary updates, and now they want to change that. Why would you want to have a lone urban planner and an AE firm reviewing the work of one of the premier urban planning groups in the world? The DPZ master plan must remain intact, and any modifications should be reviewed by DPZ, go through the normal process, planning board, and the BCC with our input at the podium. It should not be with an architect engineering firm chosen by the buyer. We've seen how getting planning from the wrong discipline turned out in the Beulah master plan. Beulah has already invested deeply in this process. Let's honor the work that's been done by making sure any changes serve the community, not just the buyer. And another example of how that can play out is Milestone on 9 Mile Road. They seem to have aimed for new urbanism principles, but the execution, the details, are what separates true urban planning from a more conventional architectural approach. I've never seen a more lonely town square. The very occasional dog walker. That's all you got there in what should be an active place. That illustrates why urban planners like DPZ are essential. They focus on human-centered design. Also, as I'm losing my time, we definitely need to have the deed restriction as part of the package, which kind of conflicts with the rest of the package. But
Thank you, Teresa. Was that
need
your
that
final
plan.
thought? All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Did Larry Downs leave? I guess he must have. So I guess Cecilia Campbell, you're up next.
Hello, my name's Cecilia Campbell. I live in Beulah on Frank Reeder Road, bordering the OLF 8. My mind just flashes back to the first meeting we had with the commissioners after that planning board meeting where we were seeing in slides that of DPZ's design, some different things that they had in mind. And the words of my former commissioner come back to me that they really needed to consult with the stakeholders. And that was a message loud and clear that no one in Beulah fell into the category of a stakeholder in the OLF 8 plan. There were so many of us that stayed with the Charettes during the time everyone was wearing masks and we had to do Zoom meetings and all of that. And all of us, in Beulah, there were a lot of naysayers to the whole thing, like leave it like it is. And you still, if you ask a portion of the community now, they leave it like it is. Yes, right. Even now with all the people moving into Beulah, they really don't know all of the work that went into that plan. And I'm so thankful. So very thankful that our commissioners did hang in there with us, and even though they might not have totally agreed with everything we were saying, I'm reminded of folks who are believers. They can have nothing in common with the people of a community, but if there's an old saying that we often say that you focus on those primary things that really connect us. And wanting a wonderful place for our great-grandchildren to live, most of us can agree on that, whether we agree on anything else. And that's the only reason we stayed with this. And my friends come to our house, they turn the corner and they say, "Man, you know that you have the last little bit of paradise here." Because everywhere else, it's just changed drastically. And that's the way we've stayed with this program. I really do believe with all my heart that Chad Henderson has our best wishes in mind to preserve a spot in Beulah that my friends that I grew up with in East Hill, going to PHS, they're going to want to bring their children out to Beulah. And if I can drive down to Jayco's for dinner, they're going to be happy to drive to Beulah, and it's going to be a place that everyone's going to envy. And my friends in Lower Alabama are going to be coming that way. It's going to be a place that we're going to be very proud of. All of Pensacola, my buddies that I graduated from PHS with, are going to be just as happy as those in Perdido, all across town. And so I'm hopeful that we're going to get this show on the road.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. I appreciate your comments. I believe your husband's up next, Zach.
Thank you. We live on Frank Reeder Road. Our property borders OLF 8. My ancestors go back to some of the original settlers there. And we've seen Beulah just be, well, it's not Beulah anymore as we knew it. And so this has been a real personal thing for my wife and I and our friends. And I have to say, for the first time in, I guess, 5 years, we're cautiously optimistic. We've been there a couple of times, and then towards the end of a county commission meeting, somebody would throw a monkey wrench in and change the plans. And it's been so exasperating. So my wife and I had a face-to-face with Chad Henderson and our commissioner. And I've got to say that to hear the vision and where they want to go, it encourages me. And I do think that what we heard is consistent with the DPZ plan. And the thing that convinced me was a sense of ownership by Commissioner Stolberger and by Chad, and a sense of this is their legacy. And that personal investment in that, and their sense of wanting to have something they can be proud to have their name on, spoke to me. So I would say that they have earned my trust. But as we go through the process and stay involved and continue to trust, but be able to verify and have confidence in where Tri-W is going to take us. So we are cautiously optimistic. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. That concludes the public forum except for the Tri-West team. Chad, do you want to come up, or anyone on your team to talk? Is that all you want to do? Okay, that's fine. Board, that concludes all speakers. Do we have any discussion on this item tonight? Well, I'm surprised.
Oh, well,
This has been the most heated topic for 2.5 years.
So I think we paid at the company store, the company office for the time. I think we have discussed it, at length, and I don't know if everybody's had an opportunity, but I think at least a few of us have had multiple opportunities to sit down and talk with some of the principals from Tri-W and outline our concerns, individually, and then the concerns that we've raised as a cumulative body, over the last couple of years. And I'm satisfied that the agreement that came, the most recent agreement that has come from their council, I'm satisfied with it to move forward, and I'm excited. I think it's a great thing, and I think we've got the right partner in place for what will be a transformational, a generational, long-term project out there. I couldn't be more excited.
Thank you, Commissioner Berry. Commissioner Stroberger?
I agree with that. I think Chad has done a good job of, well, I wish it had happened faster. But what I talked about with you was, I think I needed this time. And I think that even when we first started this discussion with me on the board, I said that with time I might come up with a different decision. And with time I have come up with a different decision. You've presented your team to all of us commissioners up here, and I was impressed. And I believe that you will do a fantastic job out there. I do believe you have a passion for it. I don't think you had to sell it, but you did a great job in the office the other day. I know Zach and Cece, even John, I think, believes in this project. He just doesn't believe in the timing necessarily. So I thank you for that. But I also want to say, thank you to Beulah Town Center. So, for their perseverance. They've been through a lot in this process. It's been a long, difficult process, and they've been with us from the beginning of this. They stuck with their commitment to the community, and they probably deserve a proclamation for their perseverance. So I want to thank them, and they'll do other projects with us. I know they got a big project up in District 5 that Commissioner Berry wants them to get hot on. That's all I am.
Commissioner May?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I've yielded since inception. I think Commissioner Berry and I, when Jim Cronley brought forth this project, was even before we were elected, and it was talked about probably through the campaign trail of how transformative this project would be, and I've yielded and supported my colleagues to my left and to my right, not based on the individual, but based on the seat as they represent those constituents from those areas. And I've been consistent and will continue to be consistent. Have a great deal of respect for Chad. I've known him a long time, and this morning discussion was a lot about Chad in the West Marino District Strategic Assessment Plan for Baptist Hospital, in which 10 years ago, Chad had the vision of what we could do in my district at Baptist Hospital, and we spent some resources, he spent some private resources in trying to figure out how we live, work, and play in the Baptist Hospital area. So I know that he has always been committed to this community, and to have someone like the Wilson family as a part of the team brings the firepower, the weight, the capital, and the relationships that I think that's going to be transformative. And so when I look at this Beulah project, and Teresa and I had this conversation, you know, it does not go unnoticed to me that in just in the 1930s, late 30s and early 40s, that an interracial couple was killed in a motel in Beulah just because they decided to date someone outside their race. And so for me, I'm glad that we have someone like Chad that understands the importance of diversity and inclusion, even when DEI is a bad word, but understanding that all of us should learn to work together, live together, play together. And so, Chad, thank you for your leadership on that. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Berry, did you have your light on again?
Oh, I apologize. I was just going to say I'm ready to move forward whenever it's appropriate. That's all.
Well, if I can make a comment, then we'll ask for a motion. I just want to say a couple things here, and some of them will kind of augment on what Commissioner Stroberger said, but I've been on this board 2.5 years, and sometimes waiting is a good thing. You know, we went through Horton, and then the Phantom Breedling, and then Beulah Town Center, and then we had the, you know, the back and forth, and I think Beulah Town Center realized that the board looked like, well, honestly, it looked like Commissioner May was the undecided vote, you know, and then they came back and were very humble, and I thought that was good. And Chad, I talked to you about that, and I thought that was very respectful how they came about. But I thought both your companies are great companies. I just got to be honest with you. I think your local commitment shows, and I do think for the people that have been coming here, and I'm not joking, the whole time I've been here, there's not been one more topic with one more speakers in the last 2.5 years. I've been willing to go on. I just know that. I mean, Teresa, you've had more people down here in green shirts than anybody. And, you know, that shows the passion for the project and the community, and I believe, you know, you folks understand that, and you want to do what's right. I'm truly excited for this tonight. I may have to have Eric come up and give me an IV before we vote, because I didn't honestly think we were going to get here, but I think we are going to get there here tonight. And it's a big deal for the board, but it's a bigger deal for the community. The community is going to get a project, and in all honesty, most people go do things around where they live. But this may be a pivotal area that, you know, will even make Navy Federal in that area a transformational place that will be outside in the county. You know, not everything can happen downtown. So we need those places for the citizens of the county to know that we're going to have a place developed that they can be proud of. And your legacy will be there, Chad, because you and Mr. Wilson, I know, want to do the right thing. So thank you for sticking with us. You know, and like I said, I think you understand how politics works sometimes. It's a brutal business. But I agree with Commissioner Berry, and I'm glad to see you hopefully get this. I believe you're going to. And I really, really look forward to working with you and seeing what you come together. And if you guys want to say anything after we vote, you're more than welcome to come up. But you don't have to.
I just want to say that very quickly, that just, you know, if this were to move forward, that all the confidence that the community, you as leaders and commissioners have put in us is not lost on us. And it it's a great honor to try to move this project forward, and we realize that it's, it takes capital and risk and hard work, but we're certainly willing to do this. So we don't take the confidence that you've placed in us and how important this is lightly. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chad.
So friendly advice, Chad, if you get the opportunity, wait to speak until after the vote's taken. If you get the opportunity again.
Yeah, so now that I have a change of heart, no.
That's always good advice.
That if this were to move forward.
I didn't say after the vote, but he took the opportunity, Commissioner Berry. Well, is there a motion out there?
I'll make a motion. May I make a motion?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
you're a commissioner on the board, you can.
I'd like to make
Look what you delivered in less than 9 months.
It's in your district, Commissioner.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the sale agreement with Tri-W Development LLC and Chad C. Henderson Enterprises of Pensacola LLC. Additionally, I'd like to add the DPZ design code as a restrictive covenant.
If you just move items A through D.
Let's move items A through D.
Perfect. That will
Second.
take
Okay.
care of all of these issues.
And then I heard Commissioner Berry second. Do we all want to, take an operational pause before we vote? Please vote. Vote passes 5-0. Congratulations. Thank you. Wow, that gave me a warm fuzzy. All right. Okay, let's go back. I know Commissioner May talked, I know there's several people here for HRC. The reason I have that on Cat 1.3, but I also have to go through public hearing, so that was the issue. But we're going to start with public hearing 532. And Mr. Henderson, do you want to speak? Are you, I don't see in the audience. Are you there? Okay, would you like to speak on behalf of 532? Okay, please come up. Brian, please sit down. Well, are you, you didn't sign, did you sign up to speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you signed up at Cat 1-3, right?
Both of them, I believe.
This is my board chair.
I don't mind having you speak as long as I'll let you speak. I just didn't see where you signed up, but I also, I'm working off old school here.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have him. Is he on? You're on 533. This is 532, so you'll be up next on the second
532,
piece.
530, I signed up for all of them.
Okay.
So, Commissioner, thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Al Henderson, for the record. I am the Executive Director of Human Relations Commission. I appreciate the support that this board has given us for the past 3 years. Really appreciate that. Appreciate the staff for supporting everything, the vision of Human Relations Commission. Just wanted to just bring some things to clarity. We got this ordinance on Sunday evening. Had a chance to kind of plow through it, but haven't really had a chance to speak to anybody on it. Commissioner Berry, I was in a meeting, this was a long time ago, sir, and when we were at the meeting, we were in rural Century, and we were trying to solve a problem for someone, and one of the things that you said was, seems to me that the very people who need to be at the table to discuss this issue is not here. They're not represented, and they're not here. And so one of the things that I was thinking about was when I looked through this, we didn't have an opportunity to really address. There's some issues or some concerns that I think that we should bring to y'all's attention. We don't necessarily have to do all of that tonight, but I wanted to make sure I brought this to your attention a little bit.
Go ahead.
All right. And then also, I wanted to just really kind of put a cap on some things, because at the HRC, we have been in compliance for the past 3 years. We've submitted all of our reports on time. We've gotten great feedback from staff. Staff has actually participated in all of our board meetings. So everything that we've done, staff has been, county staff has been a part of those things. And so when the issues came about, I wanted to make sure that I had an opportunity just to address some of those and to see if you all had any questions about them. But one of the things that I thought was really, really important to bring forward was, when we're talking about the finance, we have actually had all of our financial documents audited every year, so we had a clean slate on all that. We've had all of our reports submitted on time, worked with staff, made sure that those things were in on a timely manner. One of the things as the executive director that I think I tell my staff all the time is, a lot of times I don't give them enough attaboys when they do a really good job. And so I want to just bring into focus here some of the things, the impact that this organization has made on this community. Now, while we present these numbers here, we also have these returns on investment for our organization and for this county. So the money you've invested with us, there's a lot of things. When you talk about the Johnson Lakes Apartment, that was started with HRC. It may have come out with legal services and other organizations, but HRC actually went out and worked that case and worked it. We had 49 cases that first year, 34 the next year. Those were people who were calling us saying that they're in crisis mode. That is my concern when I look at what the ordinance says here, and when the ordinance says we're going to add a link. 99% of the people who call us, they are having problems. They're in crisis mode, 99% of them. So when you look at it and now you add a link, those people are not going to have the benefit of being able to call and get a live body.
Mr. Henderson,
Yeah.
if you'll wrap up your thoughts, because
Yep.
I think we're going to bring this up again in 533 and CAT
I know.
1.3.
So what I wanted to just point out, sir, thank you for that. Just to point out, when you actually are going ahead and doing this ordinance, look at the protected classes that you have in there. This organization, this community years ago put in some certain protected classes for this community. Those protected classes are being done away with, and I think you all should just take a look at that.
Thank you for your comments. I have one other speaker on 530. We got multiple on 533 and CAT 1.4, so I think some people signed up in different areas on similar topics. This were just asking for repeal. Jonathan Green, you also are on 532. Is Jonathan Green here? Okay, Jonathan, please come up.
Good evening, Jonathan Green, business owner within the county and city. Regarding the fair housing ordinance, to Mr. Henderson's point, the aspect of taking protected classes out is detrimental to the residents of Escambia County. What I implore you is consider your legacy of symbolic action or tangible solution to the problems of the community. I heard one commissioner make mention of DEI earlier. It's not a matter of DEI. It's a matter of upholding your oath to the Constitution, the Pledge of Allegiance that was taken at the beginning of this meeting. Liberty is freedom. Justice is fairness. All is everyone. Being selective in how we affect laws for everyone is not just. It's discriminatory on its face and as applied. So considering the ordinance does more harm, I implore you to consider the legacy you leave as we continue the discussion this evening about the dissolution of HRC, which we, the community, I think benefits more from having an organization such as that. So I'll be on some other agenda items. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That concludes our speakers for 532 board. Do we have a motion to move this item?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner May?
Allison, so exactly what is this 532 hearing?
So the Human Relations Commission is really made up of two pieces, which is why you have two separate ordinances requiring two separate public hearings, but they go hand in glove together. One of the ordinances, which is the 533, would essentially repeal the ordinance that establishes, from the county's perspective, the Human Relations Commission. The item, that's the 532, removes the Human Relations Commission as the county's fair housing office. State and federal law would allow for other options, and this would evolve the role of the fair housing office into in-house to be addressed by internal staff.
So, I mean, before we move this item, I mean, and we'd like to think in 2025 that fair housing exists and racism doesn't exist and equity exists, but it doesn't. And so there's no denying that. So if we were to replace this, what would we be replacing it with?
So that would be a question that I would think we would take up with the administrator. I do anticipate that there is going to be a portal available where fair housing complaints could be lodged, and they could then be addressed internally by your staff. Any additional resources beyond that would be an issue related to our available staff and other resources.
So, I mean, I understand the politics behind human relations that has existed for 25-plus years. Candidly, I served on the board until legal told me that I was not allowed to serve on the board, and then I removed myself. So it's challenging for me to understand that we have a fair housing issue. We do have more homelessness than we've ever had. We have more people being put out of houses with evictions, more evictions than we've ever had, probably in the history of our county and our state. And we're saying that we're going to remove an arm of fair housing and replace it with a portal. I mean, I don't know how you replace a portal, because quite frankly, anyone who was being evicted, who was being kicked out of their house, wouldn't have access to a Wi-Fi or computer or anything to even access a portal to be able to identify. And I mean, this is human. When we talk about how, I mean, it's human. It's humanistic. And so you're telling me that I'm getting evicted, and the thing that you want me to do to get fair housing is to go and log in onto a portal to figure out. I mean, if they could figure out how to stay in their house, they would stay there. I mean, and so, and this has nothing to do with this organization. It has to do with, if we're removing it, what are we replacing it with? We can't, in good conscience, say that you're going to replace it with a portal. And so to me, that's, and that's fine. I mean, people vote how they want to vote. I mean, but you're telling me that we are going to take an ordinance that's going to remove our fair housing, and we're going to replace it with a button on a computer for a portal that people may or may not be able to access.
Well, if they can't access the portal, how are they finding HRC now?
I think Hey, we're going to have order and respect in this. This is a complicated subject, one at a time.
Well, Ashley, I mean, if you understand the disenfranchised community, it's what they do. It's door to door. It's case management. It's walking out. It's being able to have a physical office. It's being able to go out and do the outreach and walk into those neighborhoods. So that's how I would think that they're doing that. And so,
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty clear. I mean, I'm not going to a portal, and I promise you that my mom's not going to a portal, and I guarantee you that the seniors at Cobb Center and Evanwood are not going to a portal.
Commissioner May, this is kind of the way we're doing this tonight. It's very odd, because we have the public hearing piece and then the CAT. I have an opinion. Some of it I agree with you on, but I don't know. I was hoping to listen to all the speakers first, but if we're going to go this route,
but now we got to do the 530. I wish we could wrap them both. And listen, if there is a solution, and people vote how they want to vote, but a portal, in my opinion, is not the appropriate. It's like telling homeless people to go to a portal to find shelter. I mean, no, that's
well,
not
I'll
right.
just, since we're on the topic, I agree. I think we have to have a warm touch in neighborhood services. There's no way, I agree. I think this could be more efficient, but I talked to Claire today. I've had my discussions with the county administrator on this. I believe that the efficiency, we could actually have a better program, have a FTE in neighborhood services based on the workload that actually could do the warm touch, and I agree with that. I don't think, I agree with you. If it was only a portal, that's the most insensitive thing you could think of, but there will be some people who use it, but you're right, a lot of people ain't gonna use it. So I've already said, I've told Wes this, he knows this. I said, look, I'm committed to the functionality of this program, period. However we get there, we'll get there, but
I don't know how we get there either, Mike, but I just know a portal is not the answer.
I agree. Commissioner Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, the actions that we're taking, if the effort is to be more efficient, I mean, we have wiggle room in the financial, the financial expenditures as they've been versus what they would be by this. It gives us a lot, it gives us a lot of room to work with. I am sure that Wes can take the feedback from the majority of the board. I don't think that a portal is I mean, you can have a portal. Right. Certainly, there are some people that are capable of that, but that's not going to be the solution. I would think that a position inside, I know that, or certainly believe Commissioner May and Clara have a very close working relationship, and with some additional resources to her department, adding an FTE position to manage these things, I think is very appropriate. That's also putting a physical brick and mortar place that someone can go if there's an issue. So I certainly would be confident that the administrator would take the feedback from the board that while the actions, if we take the actions as they're on the agenda, it frees up resources, and for a fraction of those resources, we can add that FTE position that will be a county employee that will be housed in a county building, and the accessibility would be, if not greater, at least equal. I mean, I would think the accessibility to a county building would be, it would be at least equal to the accessibility to the current situation, and and maybe even, enhance the resources that are available when a complaint does come through, potentially, because with the county would have, resources, and and I think it can be potentially done more efficiently, and you might have a little bit of growing pains making the transition from one situation to another one, but as long as Wes understands that this is what the majority of the board wants, that the portal is not a solution, a physical human being, I would expect that he would make a commitment in the board meeting tonight to work with Commissioner May and Clara and Al and Brian Wire to write up a job description for what that position would be, and move forward expeditiously with creating the position. This produces the funds for the position, so that's not an issue. But writing the job description, creating the position, and putting it out to try to find who's going to be a good person to work underneath the county umbrella and fulfill these services that are needed and that won't go away.
Commissioner May, I think you want to say something?
No, Mr. Chairman, actually, I mean, how do people contact? I mean, in the world that I live in, I interact in the inner city, the urban core with seniors every day. We pick up the phone, we call, people come by a house, grandmothers sit there, and they don't know, and people evict them. Unfortunately, even in the hood, rent is going for $1,200 with people that don't have central heating there. And you know what they do? They take their rent, and then they evict them, and they kick them out, and then most times they have nowhere to go. And they don't know where to go, and they don't know how to go. We spend millions of dollars marketing tourism, millions. We don't spend any money marketing when the least of them are affected. And so they don't even have a way of communicating unless there's somebody having boots on the ground going out there to talk to them. And so and it's nothing against the portal, but I understand that constituency. I don't care if they're on Gulf Beach Highway in a trailer park. You go through the trailer park and tell them how many people got Wi-Fi. And you go through.
Lumen, I'm not giving up the functionality of this program. Trust me.
No, I get it. I mean, I'm answering the question because the question was presented. And so, I get it. I'm off Human Relations Board. It's a needed entity that has been there since the inception since I was a kid, from Eugene Brown to Maryland, for Rebecca to Marilyn Franklin. So, I mean, however we get there, we still owe that service to the constituency. And so you probably wouldn't even have people here. It's not what you say, it's what people hear. And to say to an organization and to a community that we're going to take away the hand on hand and present it with a click on a portal. How many of us would be elected if we didn't go door to door and knock on people's door and gather our votes? How many of us would be elected if we didn't go hand to hand and hand out literature? None of us. If all we did was ran our campaign on a computer, none of us would be elected, because people want to see, touch, and feel. So that's why that's
But you're
important to me.
hearing, no one's saying that's the only option.
Okay. Well, I mean, that was the option that was presented. And so, I mean, that's an option that,
I was under the impression it was two-part, similar to what you said, that there would be a portal. That email would essentially go to someone in Claire's department, and then that person would take that case.
Well, I actually think that we also should have a warm touch, because a lot of people just have a phone.
Right.
I mean, it's some of these folks, like, I totally agree with what Commissioner May is saying. I mean, but I also think we could be more efficient. If you look at the audit and some of the things, we have to look at the totality of how we can make this actually better. That's what I'm more focused on. Can we make it better, that people believe in the program, that the resources are there? And sometimes change is painful, and sometimes it can be even better. And I think that we're in an opportunity here. No one's going to give up. Well, I wouldn't go with just a portal. I'm just telling you right now. I already told Wes that. There's no way. We have to make sure that the functionality of the program, that the citizens in this county believe that they're getting this service. And I wouldn't vote for it if I didn't believe that was where we were headed.
And Mike, I'm good. And listen, I'm not going to labor the point. And listen, unfortunately, personalities and personal agendas affect it. Let me just tell you, there are other organizations that we fund 6 times, 7 times this money, and when they're not effective, what do? We remove the executive director, not once, but twice, but 3 times, and then until we get it right, and if we think that there's not any efficiency, and you want people off the board, I think that, we took the politics off. Councilman Broughton and myself got off the board, and so if it's not been effective, kids don't get a year grade, they get a 9 weeks grade. So if someone's been in existence for 5 or 6 years and you say that, you know what, you have been inefficient, you have not provided the service that you've said, why did we fund them year after year after year without giving them every employee deserves an evaluation. Every employee deserves an evaluation. How do I know how to improve if you didn't evaluate me? You gave me no input of my services, but you told me multiple times, year in and year out, your services were good. Oh, well, now your services are no good. And so that's, to me, an unfair assessment to any organization. And I've had this conversation with Wes. You know what? Y'all ain't did anything. You know what, Al? Y'all have any case management. Al has a different story. But, we warn people all the time. People become in default of their contract, and we say, you know what? You got 6 months, 12 months to get your act together, buddy, and here are the goals, here are the objectives. We didn't even give them a scope of work. We didn't give them any outcomes. So how do we measure someone when you didn't give them an outcome? What did you measure it on? You measured it on personality? You measured it on whatever? If you had given them an outcome and told them you didn't reach those outcomes, and you know what, you missed the measuring, then that's fair. But to just say that you're not effective, how do I know? Because we don't know what the objectives was. So we didn't give them any scope of work to perform on. And so no more than we've given many outside agencies. And I'm with it. Let's give them all. Let's give everyone outcomes, and let's measure every outside agency that we fund on their production. And I won't call out any organizations because we all know them. But when some of us sit on those boards, whether it's producing jobs, whether it's putting heads in beds, whether it's helping the homeless, whether or not it's helping fair housing. I know equity, fairness is a bad word. But not merit, not outcomes. It's a great word. So just hold everybody to the same standards, and then we're good. And so I know, listen, I think I've heard, where we're going with this, and we got to get to the next ordinance. But
Mel, we are barely getting started on this topic. Hold on, you got 13 Yes.
I have nothing else to say, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
I
so
yield.
here's what I need, because this multiple people signed up. We're talking public hearing 532. I need Mel, please. I need a motion to move forward 532 or not, or deny it. Then we'll go to 533.
I make a motion to move forward 532.
I second it.
There's a motion and a second. Please vote. Okay, motion passes. For Commissioner May voted no. All right, we're at 533. This is not the end of this. This is the public hearing piece. So we need to understand how the political function of this means. We're talking about 2 pieces in the section. We're going to get to Cat 1.4. So 13 people signed up for 533, okay? Our first speaker is Allison Bennett. Allison, please come up, my friend.
Thank you for this time. I read the article. It was in a Sunday's paper. I'm going to be quick. I know I only have 3 minutes. When I read it, I say, why? That was the first thing that came to my mind. Why do you want to dissolve the Human Relations Commission? I want to share something with you real quick. I was campaigning for the city council in Haines City in 1984. And a guy walked up to me and said, if I could kill you now and get away with it, I would. That fueled my passion to make sure everybody is treated with respect. I don't know the gentleman, he didn't know me. I want to say this. the owner of the radio station told me, say, Ellison, I get calls daily, and I refer them to the Human Relations Commission, whether it's fair housing or complaints about discrimination, hatred, bigotry, or whatever. I would like to ask this commission, before you vote to dissolve the Human Relations Commission, talk to the citizens of this county. Talk to them. They voted for everybody up here. And see what they have to say. There's 5 cases that you all should research if you're thinking about dissolving the Human Relations Commission. Wendell Blackwell case, Russell June, Andrea Kitt, John Young, and the Atlanta 5. They were here in Pensacola when they came up dead. 5 fishermen came to Pensacola to fish, as they did often. Cold cases. Nobody have been brought to justice about that. Dr. King said, racism is a sickness unto death. He also said, hate is too heavy of a burden to bear. I have been fighting hatred, bigotry, racism, discrimination all of my natural life. And I thank God for his grace and mercy that the guy that wanted to kill me for exercising my right as a citizen of this country and a Vietnam veteran who fought for this country, I thank God that he didn't pull the trigger on that day.
Thank you, Ellison, and you know I value your comments as a friend. Lily Eubanks, is Lily out there? Okay, Lily's coming up, and then we got Linda Russell. And just so people know how this is going to work, we're going through both of the public hearings, and then the same way we did it, because I had so many speakers, I will put CAT 1.3, which is actually the vote, so that we have all the speakers together. I'm not sure everyone understands the administrative part of this. I just want to make sure we understand. Okay, Ms. Eubanks, please.
Okay,
please tell
the
your
purpose of the Escambia County Human Relations Commission is to provide the community with local assistance to review and resolve employment and fair housing discrimination complaints and improve community relations in Escambia County, something we still need, as you can see. I'm very distressed that the Escambia County Board of Commissions is considering dissolving the Human Relations Commission. This action means less accountability, less expertise, and less protection from housing discrimination for all members of our community. There is a severe housing problem in Escambia County. This has been brought on by a lack of affordable, decent housing and continual issues with the increasingly high prices of property insurance and utility costs. We are also living in a time when the federal and state governments have decreased their abilities to offer services to our community. This is a time for our local government to step up and offer more help with the local housing, not less. In fact, when looking at the data and statistics for the year 2024 through April 2025, the services provided in just the first third of 2025 by this commission have greatly increased when compared to the services provided in a third of 2024. The number of families served in 2025 just through April was 126, compared to a third of 2024 when 66 families were served, which is a 91% increase. Using the same comparison, the number of individuals served increased by 59%. In the area of housing calls received, there was an 81% increase. The numbers are obviously telling us that there is a growing need for the work of the Human Relations Commission in the area of fair housing. Also, if you read the high community impact section of the third quarter report, April 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2025, I believe you will be as impressed as I was with the work of the organization. I urge you to continue your support for the Human Relations Commission, as it appears to me that we need it now more than any time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. Linda Russell is up next, and then Haley Morissetti, I think I'm saying that right, is on deck. Pardon?
It's
Ms.
actually
Fussell, I'm
Fussell.
sorry. Yeah. I don't have a screen,
I
so I'm
always
like,
tell people like Russell with an F.
I apologize.
You're fine.
I'm like literally jugging paper on every side here tonight.
And I'm a 32514 resident. I'm here today to speak to the issue of discontinuing the Escambia Human Relations Commission. It seems that the EHRC is a beneficial unit for Escambia County. According to the agency statistics, the HRC has, for fiscal year 24-25, served 126 Escambia County families with housing concerns, provided assistance for housing conditions to 13 families, and provided assistance for families facing eviction, 15 families. Worked with 17 families facing housing discrimination complaints, worked with 13 housing complaints that involved individuals with disabilities. The HRC also provided to date housing workshops, meetings, and outreach that provided over 4,000 contacts with community members. The HRC's community impact has been widespread. HRC raised awareness of the conditions at the Johnson Lake Apartments, where more than 80 complaints from seniors living at the apartments were received for poor living conditions that included non-working elevators, lack of air conditioning, and mold growth. HRC provided assistance at a senior living apartment complex to help the facility become more ADA compliant for its residents. In an egregious instance, the HRC stopped a management company from automatically taking funds from tenants' Medicare benefits to cover rent increases. I guess my question for the commission is, why is there a movement afoot to discontinue the HRC? It appears to be meeting its mission. It has shown to be an advocate of fair housing and the outreach programs that go with that advocacy. If Escambia County replaces the HRC with an in-house management website, this will do away with specialized jobs that at present seem to be meeting the criteria for success. People with actual complaints regarding fair housing and employment concerns deserve accountability and more than web page resources. And I urge you to keep the Human Relations Commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. Haley Morissetti, if I got that right, thank you, ma'am. Come on up, and then Derek Scott's on deck.
Good evening. It's Haley Morissette, or Hale, as the community likes to call me, actually. I'm not going to do too much, though. So I'm Haley Morissette. I'm a social worker. I'm a community advocate, and I'm also a city-appointed member of the board for the Human Relations Commission. You're making a mistake. That would be if you were to vote to dissolve the fair housing part or just to dissolve the Human Relations Commission as it is. It is a mistake. If I could be frank, it has been under attack for a long time. Even when things were out of whack, it was dissolved and it was reformed. And they've been doing a wonderful job as we see fit. As Al has already told you, they send in their audits. Nobody has ever stopped and said, this doesn't look right, what's this about? We've continued to be funded. It's been very necessary, the work that the Human Relations Commission has been doing. And I'm gonna say something that I think has been eggshells for everyone, but the tension that seems to be coming between Mrs. Childers and Commissioner May is affecting the residents of Escambia County. It's the people at the bottom who are getting affected because of whatever's going on here. So there's consequences there. Now, we want to talk about efficiency. We want to talk about duplication of services, but this is really a control issue by bringing it in-house and saying, we control this, we control that. But at the end of the day, if you don't have that human touch that is necessary, and I'm going to take this time to remind a few people who already know me and let y'all know who may not. I was Social Worker of the Year for 2024 for the whole state of Florida last year, okay?
Congratulations.
I'm an expert in what it means for outreach and what it means for nonprofits to have to actually reach out and touch. When people don't know where to go, when they don't know who to turn to, when they don't know what their rights are, then they get left behind. So all of the advertising, all of the workshops, all the education, that is necessary spending. It's what's needed. If you talk to any nonprofit out there, all the boots on the ground, that's what's going to be needed. You're going to end up having to spend it anyway, even if you bring it in-house, because eventually you're going to realize we were wrong. One person can't just do this job. So the whole deal is that we need you to vote on the side of the residents. They need to have that human touch. They need an advocate. I send single mothers to the Human Relations Commission to get what's needed. And I've watched them be faced and told that they had to be evicted in 3 days when they really didn't have to, by someone that was sexually harassing them, by somebody that said they had to get out because they didn't like something they posted on Facebook. I had these experts who were able to step in, advocate on their behalf, hold their hands, and make sure they were taken care of. It's a mistake if you take that away from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Haley, for your comments. Derek Scott, are you in? Oh, Derek, you're up. And then Reverend Powell, are you still in the audience? Okay, you're on deck, sir.
Good evening. I stand before you today with deep concern for the future of the Escambia County Human Relations Commission. At a time where fairness, equity, accountability should be at the heart of our local government, there is a movement to dissolve the Escambia County Human Relations Commission, an action that threatens to undermine the well-being of our residents. For years, the Human Relations Commission has played a vital role in protecting citizens from discrimination, ensuring equal access to opportunities, and advocating for those whose voices might otherwise go unheard. It has been a bridge between our diverse communities, fostering dialogue, trust, and progress. To remove it would be to strip away an essential safeguard, a safeguard that protects people from unfair treatment in housing, employment, and public accommodations. The dissolution of this commission would have serious consequences, such as weakening protection against discrimination. Without a local body dedicated to investigating and addressing civil rights complaints, residents will face greater barriers when seeking justice. The absence of the commission means victims of discrimination may be forced to navigate complicated state and federal processes that can be lengthy and inaccessible to those most in need. The commission serves as a watchdog, ensuring that businesses, landlords, and employers adhere to fair and lawful practices. If it is eliminated, there's a real risk that discrimination could become more pervasive, with fewer consequences for those who violate the rights of others. Escambia County should be moving forward in embracing diversity and strengthening inclusivity. Dissolving the Human Relations Commission sends a message that the equity and justice are no longer priorities. It risks deepening the divisions, creating distrust, and making marginalized communities feel unheard and unprotected. We cannot afford to turn back the clock on fairness. The Human Relations Commission has been a pillar of protection, ensuring that every person, regardless of race, gender, disability, or background, has a voice and a recourse for justice. So I ask you today, what kind of county do you want to live in? One that protects and uplifts its residents, or one that abandons them in the face of injustice? Fair housing is not about laws, it's about dignity, opportunity, and justice. When we uphold these principles, we create a stronger and more equitable community for everyone. And I just want to say, it seems like this is, and if I'm being candid, an attack or a way to gain favor with people in Tallahassee and in DC to say that you're coming after DEI. But please know that you're affecting residents that are black, white, and everything in between. This is something, and what we should have learned in April is that for those of you who are elected, your seats aren't safe. So please know that you need to vote in accordance with the residents of Escambia County.
Thank you,
not
Mr.
your own
Scott.
political
We
affiliations.
appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Reverend Powell and Ms. Jewel Candace Wynn. I recognize that name. She's up next.
Good evening. I didn't bring any paperwork with me because I don't need any paperwork. I read it in the newspaper on Sunday, really surprising. Really disappointing. I know Mr. Eugene Brown when we first got started over on Palafox and on Palafox and LaRue. He and I had a good conversation there. He moved on down to Spring Street. He and I, Bishop Picard, we all had a good meeting down there with the community. Then all of a sudden, Mr. Eugene Brown passed away. When he passed away, there was a lady working with him for over 20 years. Over 20 years she worked for him, but yet when she took the job over, it was like she wasn't qualified. And she kept it for a little while, and then she was told that she didn't qualify. And the job was taken from her, removed, let go. Then, for over 2 years, the job lied dormant. I mean, it was saying, we really don't need a Human Relations Commission. We can work without it. Now, remember, the Escambia County Commission and the City Council got together, $150,000 apiece. That ain't no big amount of money. But they act like it's just enough to get one person and a half a person to go to work. Both of these two agencies work with themselves, run all over the county, trying to make something happen. Then all of a sudden, here now, we are in a situation now, a year or two later, the same person that let her go hired Mr. Al Henderson. For 3 years, this man he does the job, but nobody critiques him. I worked for the federal government for 37 years as a sports coordinator, and every year we got evaluated.
Yeah.
This man received no evaluation. He out talks to this person and back and forth, and they talk to him, everything's okay. Then all of a sudden he reads on Sunday himself, he's probably not gonna have a job. I'm on the radio, 32 years on WRNE, 980, Choice, 93.7, I'm on there, talking to the senior citizens every day on the weekend, and I'm talking to them. I have a listening audience of somewhere between 3,500 or better senior citizens, along with the Inglewood Boys and Girls Club. All those people listen to me talk. And I told them last Sunday, we got a problem. Because if y'all wake up on Friday morning and the county commission said, guess what? We don't have HRC. Because we decided that it don't need it. I got people, and in conclusion, I got people that fill out for Christmas. They fill out applications for toys for their children. Half of them don't bring them back. You know why they don't bring them back? Because they can't fill out the forms, because they're too embarrassed to bring them back.
Thank you, Mr. Powell, and thank your passion. So, Ms. Candace Wynn, come on up. How are you, ma'am? Haven't seen you in a while.
I normally stay with my, housing initiatives, but this
Yeah.
is something very dear to me.
Will you pull the microphone down so we can hear you? Thank you, ma'am.
This is something very dear to me. The HRC, Human Relations, helped me when I needed help with employment discrimination. And so I understand that you have to have some place, a physical place, and a person, because not only do they help solve the issue, mediate the issue, but they also give the counseling when you're in distress and when you are desperate and when you don't have no money to pay your bills and you don't have no money. When my baby had one glass of milk in the refrigerator to eat and to drink. So the Human Relations Commission helped me. Good afternoon, Commission, Chair, members of the board. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak about this importance of maintaining the Human Relations Commission. The Human Relations Commission acts as a quasi-independent entity of the county. And independent is the key, where people don't fear retaliation when they complain. So independence is the key. The needs and the service of this agency should not be staffed as a pass-through to the state and federal agency. In item number 2025-952, page entitled Business Impact Estimate Form, the attorney clearly cited that there are no anticipated business impact as a result of the termination of HRC. I beg to differ. HRC says Human Relation Commission. It does not say Business Relation Commission. Where is the human impact analysis of this closure? I didn't see anything that talked about that particular. You on the diocese, you talked about what's may happen, what's going to happen. But a person who has used HRC, I want to know what's going to happen, and I want it to be explicit. HRC provides an important connection to the human, the citizens of Escambia County. It is an asset to the business community, even though the business community don't think so. When we talk about fair housing, it's not just completing a form and writing from someone to contact you, but listening, caring, negotiating, counseling, giving a peace of mind, bringing the tenants and landlords together. There are many housing issues that sometimes don't fit into the classifications. They fall through the cracks of bureaucracy, landlord issues, and tenant issues. HRC puts the human response to the needs of our citizens when they're in desperate need. So thank you, reconsider, and look at the human impact. Do that analysis and appreciate the importance of HRC. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Sarah Randolph, is Sarah out there? Thank you, Sarah, you're up. And then Al, you're up again after Ms. Randolph, if you want to speak again.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. The point that I would like to make is that simply the kind of support the Human Relations Commission provides needs to be easy and accessible to the public that needs services that the Commission provides. People in need quite often require a personal hand just to get started. In my view, that is that the HRC is more trusted by people in need than approaching the county directly would be. So please do not discontinue the much-needed Human Relations Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Al, would you like to speak again?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would just like to, just warms your heart. You do work, and you help people, and then when you look behind you, they're there. This is a troubling time for this community. And so I really urge you all to really reconsider. But I want to just thank the people for coming out and really supporting the Human Relations Commission. That means a lot to me. I'm sure it means a lot to my staff as well. One of my biggest concerns, though, is when we talk about we're gonna make sure we hire FTE. When I walked into this job, I had a lot of files and nothing. And so I had to pull a lot of things together, which means I had to hire staff, had to do a lot of training, a lot of those things to get those skill sets necessary to serve the residents of this community. Now you're bringing somebody in and you're thinking that with the $125,000 that you're going to save from not supporting HRC, that you can bring somebody in with that skill set. I can tell you that I tried to hire those people. It didn't work. I just wasn't enough money. So I had to hire staff with transferable skills. And so I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out and also point out the fact that staff presented here tonight and what they're seeing and what I'm seeing is that it is a portal. There was no intention into I'm reading a portal. And I know the actual work that goes into working with these families. I know, I got 3 calls this week. I actually got 2 that I couldn't answer before I left here. People saying, I have nowhere else to go. I don't know who else to call. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Jonathan Green, sir, you want to come back up and make a comment? And then Mel, you're up. I wasn't going to leave you out.
And then Kevin. You got Kevin?
Go ahead.
Why not the gavel so hard for the disruption for her? HRC could help with that implicit bias. Jonathan Green. I know it's funny. Not really.
I'll take it.
Thank you for my time. I'm Jonathan Green. So very directly, I said before, think about your legacy. Think about if you want to be symbolic in your actions or remembered as someone who is going to make tangible change. What does tangible change look like? For instance, before you stands with my colleague here, who is the state of Florida's Social Worker of the Year. I was also the New Jersey Office of the Attorney General lead mediator for the Division on Civil Rights, where I authored the New Jersey Community Peacemaker Collaborative, which affects 9.2 million New Jersey residents to this day. I co-authored the grant under DOJ for the state for $347,000 from federal funds to support that program. You can't be serious about public safety and reducing crime in this community. If you were, you would not reduce programs to cause more crime to happen. If a person's homeless, what do? If a person is hungry, what do? Or it's what you allude to them doing, crime. It's not true. Get to know the people. How can you use a software program for a complaint system? We had one in New Jersey for a person to also be able to call an actual investigator, but one person, it's insulting to this man and the people who help him for this community to say one person can help this entire county when he hasn't even been able to get the support and funding to do what needs to be done. Escambia County had one of the highest direct files on juveniles. Compared to Miami-Dade, the same as DCF reports compared to Miami-Dade. We're Escambia County, the lowest school district in the state. And you want to get rid of community programs that are already underfunded. That if you supported DJJ with more county funds, if you supported any agency doing the community work, you would reduce recidivism rates. Hell, you wouldn't even have crime in some of the neighborhoods if you even realized they existed. You don't acknowledge the people who are here because you will gavel people because you consider them so-called Negroes to galvanize the moment because too many people spoke. You better listen up. But one interruption from a sweet white lady, hey.
Mr. Green, I appreciate your comments, but that is absolutely not true.
It's what happened.
Here.
I know. This is
Melissa Pino, you're up.
Can you speak more politely?
Eugene, keep him in line.
Hey, what
Ms.
are you
Pino?
complaining about? I didn't get up to the podium, Jonathan. If I were Larry Downs Jr., though, I might. So.
Mr. Smith, please take him out. Thank you.
Oh, don't do that.
To talk to him, he can come back in, but we can't. We got to have disruption.
Okay. All right. Melissa Pino, 413 Southeast Boblets, and I have missed being down here so much. We've had health stuff. We've had house stuff. I didn't want to be back down here when I am so angry. And I'm not angry at you, Commissioner Kohler. I'm just disappointed because, you know, I haven't missed a minute of the meetings. You let people up to the podium all the time. I watch it happen almost every meeting. How many people from OLF8 get to come up after the discussions and everything else? And it was pertinent because I've seen a lot of sly agenda stuff. And when I hear your attorney say, well, this is a two-part thing and there's going to be one vote, I'm going, wait a second, I missed that. I'm sure most people missed it. So when you guys voted on the last thing, did that preclude then that this can still be salvaged? Because I've seen that legally happen, and I just wanted to ask the question knowing that you guys don't even have to answer it. But what I really want to say is, and I'm going to channel my anger about the situation to the chair, which is proper, not at you, to you.
That's fine.
This is disgusting. I am so tired of watching white, affluent people make snide comments about people who need things in this community. What are y'all doing? You had a proclamation to honor Reverend Matthews tonight, and on the same damn night, you're going to rip down the Human Relations Commission because you got a clerk that's antiviral and she's running ragged and you don't even know what to do about it. This is a personal vendetta. Everybody in this room knows it. Now, I was here for the last round of our Human Relations Commission, and she might have some good stuff in her audit. A broken clock is right twice a day. I don't read her stuff anymore because it's packed full of so much gobbledygook on other things. Maybe she got some right on this. I don't know. I'd sue if I hadn't had any input before this. By the way, where was it on the agenda to even schedule these public hearings? You guys always have it on the agenda to schedule a public hearing. Where was it? She does a desk audit and all of a sudden it's on the agenda? Okay, I guess I missed it.
Yeah, it was on there, Mel.
How, as I said to a couple of you, so you've got a guy with a hammer and you're not happy about how he's using it and you gave him a cheap hammer, but you're not going to tell him that for 3 years, and then when he goes looking for a box of nails and the storehouse is empty, you're going to get rid of him and you're going to throw away the hammer? If you guys cancel this, you will never get it back, so fix it. Oh, Mel, we already tried that once. Try harder. And put 2 commissioners on this, fund it better. Chairman Kohler, I beseech you to think about redoing the interlocal so there are 2 commissioners and you sit the thing and you help Commissioner May and this gentleman fix it so that everybody up here feels like they're getting something from it.
Thank you, Mel, for your comments. Welcome back. I hadn't seen you in a while. Kevin Wade, you're up next, and then Brian, I think I saw Brian. Brian, you're up after Kevin. You good, Kevin?
Can I have a second?
You all right, man?
Yeah, Kevin Wade. Sorry, a lot of what I was going to say completely went out of my brain. Out of my brain. Completely out of my brain. I don't get like this often. Sorry. The whole bit about a portal. Excuse me? Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me? Like, efficiency. Why are people needing the help that this organization should be out there all the time with many people and lots of resources? Why are they needing that? Quite a few of them have been let go because of efficiency. Businesses want to be efficient. Government wants to be efficient. We all want to go ahead and be able to, like, load the dishwasher like that. You know, why can't the dishwasher load itself? Maybe in a couple of years we'll have a little robot to do that. But the idea of a snide remark about a portal and who can get to it just absolutely infuriates me. And you know what? Want a serious idea of how that the symbolism of raising your hand. All right? How much money? How much money? Because history. How much money has gone into software for voting efficiency right here on the dais? Okay? And this dais, I have a lot of respect for it. You don't come in and drop your little show and tell things right on top of that dais. You know, we don't drop things right here. Have, like, respect for it. But all the money that's gone towards efficiency of voting software, and someone's going to come up with a portal idea. You're right. I got plenty of things to say that can't say here, and they all end up in pleas about, let's drop some more software. How many of your children are not looking at making things to be able to make money in this world? How many of them are going to go ahead and be able to, like, figure out that they're going to be able to master AI, and that's how they're going to survive until their old age? Well, They're not going to do it with voting software because you all have to raise your hand to vote right now.
Kevin, please, is that your final? Thank you, Kevin. Brian, you're up, and please come on up. And Arnitha, I say you're up next. Thanks, Arnitha.
Hello, Commissioners. Just as a point of clarification, when we signed in, a lot of us thought we were signing for both items. I put it on my form, so
You
I think
can
that's where
sign
we
up
got.
for both,
Yeah, I think
but-
we got confused on that part, many of us.
I think Brian, you're also on Cat 1.3, and just after we
Okay.
get done with this, I'm going to bring Cat 1.3, so we're talking in the totality of this issue.
Okay. Can I start over again time-wise?
Yeah, start this time over. I'm fine with that. Go ahead.
So I heard today big things in the community. It takes time to do things. And I reached out to many of you in person because I wanted just more time to explain who we are and get to know you. And that's a very important thing because there's a lot involved here. These are some big ordinances that we're saying as a community that we're getting rid of for our community. In 2019, there was a 5-0 vote to reestablish the interlocking agreement between the city and the county. Me and other community members stepped up and we said we want to be doing this because this is God's work, helping the least of the least, the people with no voices. And we stepped up and we got in that committee for 5 or 6 years. Did some wonderful things. We never had any kind of report with our audits. We turned in yearly reports and got approved for them. We turned in reimbursements every single quarter, completely approved. Earlier this year, this stuff hit us like a blindsided of us. And I literally, me and the board considered getting away and walking away and just from all of this until I spoke with one staff member. And that staff member, I said, how are you feeling about the job? How do you feel about your job going away? That staff person said, Brian, I don't care about me. I care about all those people who come and see me who don't have a voice, who can't speak and have nothing to be heard of. And that hit my soul really hard. This last few weeks going through this whole process has been horrible for all of us. Digging in research is pulling away resources that we can do to help better our community. So I asked all of you guys individually, just please give us some more time to get to know us. I mean, I challenge you if you'd like to come with us to an event, come to us to a building and see what's going on. In fact, everybody in the room, just close your eyes for a second. Imagine tonight going home in your bed and laying down in the bed, queen size, king size, wonderful bed, everything is great, and we go to sleep at night. The people we talk to, they go to sleep at night knowing that rodents and rats are crawling around their houses. Their house is infested with bugs. They live on the second floor and can't get an elevator to go to the first floor. In those meetings that we had, Commissioner May, Hale, and myself, I hear stories that haunt me. I feel guilty. I have a great life right now, but every day I feel guilty because those people can't live the life that I'm living, and they won't live it without a voice to be had. It really makes me angry and upset that at times I feel that I got blessed in ways that they had never going to be blessed by. But I made a commitment, people in this room, that we're going to do the best we can to help them out because they have no voice, they have no one to go to, and a website or a portal or even a person internally may be hurt, maybe not helpful. I have to be honest with you guys, and I don't normally speak like this, but many people don't trust our government. They don't trust the issues that they have. It's confusing. I can't figure out all these things out with whatever background I have. They have no chance to get the help that they needed without an organization like the Human Relations Committee. A failure of the Human Relations Committee is a failure of the county, it's a failure of a city to be involved as well because you guys helped ask for this, and we stepped up to the plate to do this, and a failure of us is a failure that it was not having oversight in place to make things happen. So please, just let's think about taking some more time, look at this, and find a way to help resolve these issues.
Brian, I appreciate your passion. I can feel it. Thank you for your comments. Arnitha?
Hello, everyone. My name is Arnitha. Welcome. And I want to thank you, commissioners, for your time and allowing me to speak. But I can't sit there. And I can understand why Jonathan is acting the way he's acting because we're all just tired. To get rid of, to dissolve the Human Relations Commission, come on, y'all, this is truly a mistake. Being ex-military, EEO manager, and I don't mean to bring up EEO, disability manager, Hispanic manager, Federal Employed Women Manager. All these people benefited from these programs. To eliminate the Human Relations Commission office is truly a mistake because, and replace it with the porter, you need that body. This man has a wealth of knowledge in this field that he has taken time to learn this job so that he can support the Pensacola area. I'll just say the surrounding areas. I've had the opportunity to visit. I needed him. I don't need a porter. I needed a body, someone that I can speak to. Me and my husband, and this is no lie, we needed some help. And I didn't know where to go. And a friend of mine said, look here, you need to go see Al Henderson. Al Henderson, I know Al. Made an appointment to see Al. He was waiting for us. And I can truly say that Al made my husband and I felt better. We used his advice. It was concrete advice. And it would just be a mistake because everybody can use him. Not black, white, everybody. And he has proven himself. Do not do this. Please don't do this. And another thing, the Human Relations Commission, the Martin Luther King Parade was generated from the Human Relations Committee, the softball, the fathers organization was generated from, and we trust him. Come on, don't do this. If you got to eliminate something else, go just think about it. And new people, we got history. You guys, Mike, you know, you military, you came in. This is my home. Been here all my life.
Simeon EO, I get it.
Please, y'all need to think about this thing because you truly will be making a mistake if you dissolve this office.
Arnith, I want to say something. I got a little offended with the previous speaker. I was a Simeon at Whitingfield. I was a Simeon in Messi. I was the only white person that went down to Patrick Air Force Base as a Simeon, because in Elson, you know this, they always give it to a brown or black person. I was the only white person at 2 commands that represented the Simeon. I'm proud of that.
Yes.
And you know the responsibilities. That EO is different. You know Charles Thornton was the EO. You know, I know many of these people. I know the functionality and responsibilities of that. And I think I'm taking this serious. I want you to know that. But I think we need to understand sometimes when people throw stuff out there, they don't know someone's background. You two know my background.
Right.
And I just want to make that clear right now.
And I'm comfortable with you, Mike. You know that.
I know.
You recognize me and I recognize you. Now, Strawberger, I'm getting to know you because you're military. We all family when it comes to military. What is it, Strawberger? I don't want to mispronounce your name because I know how that feels too. I'm Arnitha, but then I end up being Anetta, Aretha. Well, Aretha, I don't mind. But
you better wrap up. I'm going to get in trouble, Arnitha, because I'm giving you more time. So give your last comment.
Okay, all right. But I just want to, y'all think about this now, please. And this man has a family, and like I said, he started from the bottom. He didn't get into teaching, so just reconsider this, okay?
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, dear. And thank you for your time. And I will be sending you a flyer on the Veterans Stand Down, which will be coming up in October.
Thank you very much.
And the Veterans Day Parade. So I'm that person who'll be sending that out. Thank you.
Did you all have a Brownsville meeting this week?
Had what now?
Did you have a Brownsville neighborhood meeting? I had some other.
Yes, we did.
Okay, I'm sorry I didn't attend that. I thought you did and I missed it, but I'll be there next month.
Okay. Appreciate
sorry
it.
about that.
Y'all, thank you.
All right, team. So that's all the speakers for public hearing 5.33. Do we have a motion to move this forward? Well, I will go through 534 and then I'll do CAT 1.3 if everyone's okay with that. Commissioner May, you good with that? It's the HRC thing. So yeah, so I'm just trying to align all these topics at one time. All right, is there a motion to move 534?
Mr. Chairman, before you make a motion.
Second.
Oh, hold on.
Who made the motion?
I said there was, but then you put, go ahead and speak. Commissioner May, you're up. You wanted to talk.
I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, I wouldn't be supporting eliminating anything that brings about human services. The greatest investment is in human capital. It's the greatest investment. is how do you invest in people? So, I mean, when we look here, we're going to fund 11 EMS positions. We got people in Children's Trust, who make $80,000, $90,000 that don't do half of the work that this man is doing. $125,000 with no benefits. I've served on that board, and I've said to Al, and I've said to his staff, I don't even know why y'all work here. You don't get retirement, you don't get benefits, you don't even get the things that we get at the county. So I know that they're dedicated. This community has spoken. When you talk about the longevity of organizations that have been around in this community doing great work, although it's unpopular, human relations that fights discrimination, that fights EOC, that fights fair housing, that stands up for the rights of those that don't have anybody, it becomes political. It offends people. People don't like it. But that's why it's a standalone organization, because that's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be an agitator. He is supposed to stand up, and it's supposed to irritate people, and quite frankly, it's supposed to make people feel uncomfortable, because sometimes when you go against the grain, you make people uncomfortable. I certainly, I'm not, my position is there. Am I biased? I served on the board, absolutely. Did I fight to bring it back when it was taken away last time? Absolutely. Have I read the false facts that were written in the paper? I have. Has it hurt people's family life? It has. Has it destroyed people's credibility? It has. Doesn't matter to me, par for the course, because I'm a politician, right? It doesn't matter to me what you write. Doesn't matter to me what you say. But the personal attack on people's character that would have to work and live in this community, oh my God, $125,000 with no benefits to an organization. We spend more money than that on people who make $40,000 a year. His salary, if you put retirement benefits and all those things in, that'd be $250,000. That'd be $400,000. And so, I mean, to work with a three-person staff, to me, that's unacceptable. I hear where we're going. I hope that we can continue our organization. But to Les Humphrey, to Eugene Brown, to B.J. Brooks, to Dave Thomas, to H.K. Matthews, to Reverend K.C. Bass, to Nathaniel Smith, all of us who had our mass meetings at Human Relations, to the Human Relations that fought with the 9 men with the federal legislation, and all of that was started right in the Human Relations office to make sure that we can have a minority-majority district. It's an insult for me and their legacy for me to not speak out, no matter the retributions. And so it made a difference in the lives of people. When nobody else, we've had 2 shootings and a stabbing in Pensacola Village. Nobody but Pensacola Human Relations would go in Pensacola Village to run softball leagues. It's just not about fair housing. It's human services, and it's providing a service that we can as a county. It's going into places at Solarian Ponds where we go in. It's going in those places where, as he said, we take tax credit projects and we put there and we say we're going to give poor little black and brown children a swimming pool. But by the way, the gate ain't going to work and we ain't going to put no water in it. And it's filled with rodents and rats and children can't swim. But we said we gave them a pool. And the organization that became the safeguard was Human Relations. That's the reality of what they do each and every day. Johnson Lakes, when people were living in mildew and it was going down. It's not a secret. It's not a mystery of why Johnson Lakes was sold, because Human Relations got engaged to the private developers that take 4%, 9% tax credits, and after the 15 years expire, they leave the people in poverty and put a fence around them with barbed wire like they've done Oakwood Terrace, and nobody says anything about it because they don't make political contributions, they don't come to meetings, they're not connected, they're not in the Kiwanis, they're not in the Rotary, and they don't have to come down to these meetings because they don't have the means to come, so they don't have a voice. So Haley has to be a voice, and Brian Wire has to be a voice, and Anita has to be a voice, because they are the voiceless. And that's what this organization is. And so the small amount of money to give them a voice, to give the least of them a voice, because by the way, guess what? Poor people, you know what they do? They consume. And these sales tax, where we do bay centers and bridges, and we do all the things that we do in LOST, and the amenities that we get is because they buy Snicker bars, sodas, and Little Debbie's and unhealthy snacks with their sales tax that add up to make a contribution to all the money that we throw in the pots. And so I'm emotional a little bit about this because I understand the legacy of what that organization did. I'll yield, Mr. Chairman. But I can't support that in good conscience. And whatever decision is made with my colleagues today, just remember, they're people. They're people. And you know what? They are people that matter. And so, you know, when the political guys, when they don't get their money and they yell and scream, they get theirs. That's how it works. You know what? You take away the money of the big boys, and they come down, and they knock on the door, and you know what? We give it to them. The little people keep stepped on. And so regardless, it could cost me this seat. I'm never going to yield what I believe in, and that's standing up for a community that has no one to stand up for them. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner May. Thank you all. Let's have some order. I won't gavel you down. Thank you very much. We're voting on a public hearing. I want everyone to understand what we're voting on. Yeah. I think people need to understand. 533 is a public hearing. Do we have a motion to move 533? Did you make the motion? You didn't make the, I was going to say, you didn't make the motion, man. Oh, I was like.
I was going to thank Chairman Kohler. This has been really hard to navigate, and it's hard to explain when they're not looking at the sheet of paper what's going on. So
Yeah.
I really want to thank you for that. And then I want to move this forward so we can move on to Cat 3, which is all in the same subject. So thank you for your leadership on this. I would like to make a motion that we move this item forward.
I'll second it.
Okay, please vote. All those in favor, 3. All those opposed? 3 in favor, 2 opposed. Motion passes. I want to do 534. There's no speakers on 534. Do I have a motion to move 534? Is there a second? Second. Please vote. Okay, motion passes 5-0. Now I'd like to bring Cat 1-3 back in, all right? So, Al, you're up. Al Henderson, would you like to speak again, sir?
I'm glad he's speaking, but it's insignificant to even have this discussion. It's done at this point.
Well, they signed up, so I
Yeah, but I mean, even if that passes, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, so I don't know why you would even speak.
Yeah. Actually, I think it does matter. We vote on public hearing. There's 2 different votes. This is a different vote. I mean, it's an administrative thing we have to do.
Yeah,
So- All right, go ahead, Mr. Henderson, if you'd like to speak. You have the floor.
Thank you for your time. This has been a challenging evening. This has been a challenging year, but I'm here for any questions. I want to make sure we clear up any concerns, concerns that Ms. Childers had. What I would like to say is that, you know, even though what happened when that report came out, nobody's a bigger critic than Al Henderson. You know, I thank people for, you know, recognizing my character, things I've done in the past. I really appreciate them for that. But nobody's a bigger critic than Al Henderson. Al Henderson is always trying to see how can he do something better? How can we do it better? How can we make a bigger impact in this community? So I talk with staff, and one of the things I've always told staff is, you know, we're trying to work ourselves out of business. Meaning, when we go out and we do those outreach, when we go to those appraisers, those bankers, when we go to those realtors, we're going trying to teach them not to discriminate, so we don't get the discrimination calls. It's one of my biggest concerns is we don't want people happy to call us about discrimination. We want them to call us about other concerns, but the discrimination is a challenge for us. We want to make sure that we at least educate them on that. So there was a lot of things that came out of those things, and I'm sure Wire will speak, my chairman will speak to those, and we're here available to speak to any things that you have. Thank you, so.
Thank you, Al. I appreciate your comments. Mr. Green, come on back up. Please be respectful. I'm asking you nice. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Jonathan Green, once again. Legacy, tradition. In relation to fair housing, I think it's awfully funny that the push in Escambia County and Pensacola is affordable housing. Affordable housing is not affordable, which is not fair. Y'all, well, by y'all, I mean the people who sit in your office. You now had, before Hurricane Ivan, Tarragon Court existed, a project by Bayfront Parkway, right? You might not know about it if you're not really from here. A whole housing project existed there and flooded after Ivan, and they condemned it, said it's not inhabitable. But wait a minute, let's take millions on millions on millions of dollars and make it habitable because it's waterfront property. Let's condemn it for, one moment, I'm trying to think of a word, for aspects of racism with a smile that's still racism. Or let's just get the people who were there out, displace them, continue the housing issue, but have all these $1 million homes. Let's keep moving the people and displacing them. You don't know about Tarragon Court? Google it, you got a computer. What about Escambia Arms? What about when I ran for mayor in 2018 against Grover and Spencer, Escambia County was the 11th most contaminated county in the nation. It's probably because the sewage plant where y'all building the new condos across from Maritime Park was a poo-poo factory. In the words of my friend, a shit factory. Literally. And they didn't not send the poo down there. They just rerouted the pipes to the north of the county. So when you ride downtown, even I think there's a leak on Palafox near my house somewhere because you smell poo in the air. We're an environmental cesspool. And every housing issue, we still have pipes that just got the lead fixed a few years. It's actually not even fixed. The newspaper article some years ago about the pipes were never connected, so they were still using the old sewage pipes for all the like downtown community. Y'all don't remember that article? It's there, Google it. Don't trust me. Be the Google doctors you are. Racism with a smile is still racism.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Mel, you're back up. Mel Pino. And then Kevin, you're after Mel if you want to speak again.
Thank you, Chairman Kohler. Melissa Pino, 413 Southeast Boblets. Again, I am grateful to you. We have had our differences, but I have been super grateful for how you've been the commissioner of District 2, how you've been chairing stuff. I don't politic for other people. I don't speak for other people. All conspiracy theorists are going to be out there going, oh, now Commissioner May's paying Mel since Jeff Bergosh isn't doing it anymore. Zero. Not 1 cent. Not 1 cent, despite people on this dais who might spread stories about how I get paid. I was trying to get up here to ask, even knowing Chairman Kohler, that you don't have to answer me. Is this done? I mean, was that the scheduling of this discussion, and this is the vote that decides whether this, it's already over, right? You guys already voted it down?
No, it's not.
Can you stop my time and explain, because this is not the way you guys usually do it. Please, please. Or take my time and explain.
Go and I'll
Everybody
talk at
needs
the
to
end.
hear it.
Continue to
Okay.
go.
I mean, look, I know how public hearings work. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've never seen this setup. This looks like a Grover Robinson special. I've seen enough of them, you know? So why wasn't there the typical scheduling of the public hearing? And I don't know, are these two scheduling for the hearing that's happening tonight? And you guys, I don't know. And then I see the person to your, the commissioner to your right, go ahead and reassure you, oh, this was right. When was it advertised for a public hearing? I mean, the clerk's garbage just came out. This was a really quick turnaround time. And what I really want to say on this one is this. You all need to start standing up for your staff that has to put up with the continued chaos that is emanating out of that clerk's office. You need to protect them more. And this isn't against Wes. I'm one of Wes's biggest fans. I think he's amazing. I think he's one of the best county administrators that we've ever had. I don't know why he feels put upon to have to do this, and that's the point of why we need this. Don't make staff shoulder this for you, so they got to deal with whatever's going to come down the pike next. How people get housing and discrimination, don't even talk about this board and the 5 people up here. What happens 5 years from now with the politics? And you are bringing this position into one of the most politically charged counties I've ever seen in my life. It's always a fight. You said yourself it's brutal. It is brutal. This function needs to be encapsulated. The Doge moment is over, y'all Republicans. It's done. They
All
had
right,
their
Mel,
fun.
Finish your final thoughts, please.
This is not the community that we decided to come live in. Get back to the community we used to be.
Okay, Mel, thank you. Allison, will you just explain, we have a public hearing, it will have to come up at another hearing so that people know that this is not the end date for the resolution. Now, the thing that we're talking around at CAT 1-3 is breaking up the interlocal agreement with the city. So there will be another hearing after we have public input.
No. This is the public hearing. These votes, we scheduled
No.
these. These are the public hearings.
Oh, I didn't understand it that way.
But that's what Mel was asking you earlier when you
I
announced it.
thought it was, okay, I'll stand corrected. That isn't correct. Why'd we do it that way? Hold on, let's have some,
What,
it's not done yet. We haven't voted
we
on
did
this.
it like every other ordinance. At a previous board meeting, we scheduled public hearings for this evening. The ordinances were both advertised. This is the public hearing for each of those two ordinances.
This is the interlocal separation.
The Human Relations Commission is, as you've heard, I mean, they have employees, they have office space, it's an entity. And so one of the pieces of that is that it has been jointly funded through an interlocal agreement with the city of Pensacola, because the city of Pensacola has also historically used this as their fair housing office. I can't speak for them. It's my understanding that they are also backing away from using this as what they are using for a fair housing office. It
And there's no one
sounds,
from the city to speak here, is there?
no, but this is the piece that would,
One at a time, guys. This is a passionate conversation. Continue, Madam Attorney.
it has been verbally represented to me through the mayor that they are either have or will be moving to an internal staff-related way of coping with those complaints. I do not know when, and I do not know their specific plan, but we have certainly read in the city attorney's office on our steps that we have been taking and our copies of our documents. This last piece that's on your agenda, this 1-3, is to provide the official notice necessary under that interlocal to officially terminate that interlocal so that there's no funding obligation any longer for the two entities. That's all this piece is. There are some other things out there, but I do not believe they need any official board action. There is a lease. It should die a natural death next month, so I think you can just leave that be. There are some other minor housekeeping things, but I don't believe they are going to need board action.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Commissioner.
So, I mean, and that's what I was saying, and, you know, with no disrespect to those people who are coming, all we're doing here is this is terminating an interlocal based on what somebody could have said. It's not in writing, so it doesn't matter, but it's insignificant. We passed the ordinance and it's done. And you know, you're right. Kill them with a slow death, kill them, you know, one stab at a time. I mean, it's done. You know, 60 years of history has just got destroyed in 2025. And so, you know, what a sad day for Escambia County. And so, I mean, I don't even know why we continue to debate it. It's over. I mean, what are we doing? Talking about an interlocal? That's all we're doing. We're talking about ending an interlocal with the city, and we don't even know what the city's going to do in the city. Well, I don't even know why we're going to vote with an interlocal. The organization's dead. Whether we have an interlocal or not, the organization doesn't exist anymore
I just
because
see
we
it
don't
as a
have an ordinance with
housekeeping
them.
step. That's
It may
all.
be it can be housekeeping, house cleaning, house whatever. I mean, it's over. We don't even have an ordinance. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's insignificant. I mean, so I mean, that's over. Yeah.
All right, order.
So, I mean-
Time to process here a second. Yeah, it's getting big. No, I don't
We
want to
don't
take
need
a
recess. It's
recess.
over.
Okay. Here's the deal. I'm committed. Oh, Kevin, so come on, you're up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kevin, you're our next speaker.
No.
That's what happens when we get 3 hours into this, man. I get tired,
if you
man.
want to
And I
speak
don't
first,
have
go
a
ahead.
screen
If you-
tonight. I'm
sir,
making excuses,
if
but
you wanna
I'm
speak
literally
first,
trying
go
to
ahead.
juggle 10 things. But go ahead, Kevin.
Honestly, Mel called this. This was a Grover move. You know, history again. Y'all can burn the books, okay? Be proud of yourself. All right? Get rid of DEI. Bah, bang, bang, bang. You know what? Reconstruction. This is one of those rebounds off of Reconstruction. And the singularity is coming, all right? You take a coin. You hold that coin. You've trapped that coin. That coin is your slave. Can you see both sides of that coin? No. So you take that coin, flick it, give it some power, spin it fast on a flat surface. As that thing's going around, your eye sees both sides of that coin. Our eyes go ahead and trick us. We get to see both sides. And we're thinking, that's both sides of the coin. Great, great, great. And that thing's got some momentum. And it's making a cute little noise as it spins, you know. And it had a lot of force, it had a lot of power, and it was going. In this country, during Reconstruction, there was a lot of power. A lot of amazing things happened. Americans suck at history. My history was taught to me around the world, Canada, from the Brits, from the French. And they went ahead and told me, Kevin, you don't know much about American history. We'll teach you this. We'll teach you this. And this Reconstruction, all right, getting rid of DEI or having CRT. Oh my gosh, CRT. Oh, kids are gonna rise up against us. You know what? You take that coin, and as it's spinning, that angle keeps moving. And eventually, as it's slow, it's going faster and faster and faster, right? One side comes up on top or the other. Now, the sound that the coin makes as it's finally coming to rest is the sound of the singularity. No other sound is like that. It's a singularity. The problem is, we forgot that there was a rim, and there was no two sides. But we got the haves and the have-nots. And we're going to go ahead and change the history books. We're going to burn books. And I spoke for SYSA the other day because these are heroes that are bringing our children up. And they're making history in the eyes of the children that need it in this town.
Kevin, Brett, thank you for your comments. Brian, you're the last speaker on this.
Well, I personally want to apologize to the county and the city for this because I asked for more time on this because this is a confusing big topic. We made a big, huge decision today that we made, and I really didn't understand all the pieces and parts of this, to be honest with you. I'd asked no one to be here today. I even told Al to kind of dissuade people from coming today because I wanted to reach out to you individually to talk to you first. I believe, if you guys know me, I think all of you know me, my relationship is I'm not a fighter, I'm more of a collaborator, more of a healer, and I want to talk to you guys and just explain some of the pieces of it without pulling up dirt or information, make people look bad or look different ways, and I hate talking in a way that it appears to be that way because it's just all point of view. And I apologize for not being more aggressive. When I was serving on the commission, I tried to slow things down a lot as opposed to them wanting to do more improved numbers because I knew we were doing God's work and doing good for our communities. I don't need the numbers and the flaunting and helping people with a sandwich and then taking a picture of it. So I personally slowed things down like I shouldn't have. I personally dissuaded Al and others not to even be here tonight because I thought we could have a good dialogue and a conversation and more time to really understand this. I'm personally confused right now exactly what happened and didn't happen, and I hate the fact that I couldn't have done more to represent our community in a better way. But Sue Strong spoke at our Rotary Club, and she said, when you know better, you do better. And this is literally an organization that we thought we were doing better. We really put our hearts and soul into it because we thought we could serve those people that needed it the most, that could have no voices. If we think the discrimination is gone, if we think the housing issues are gone, that is a far cry. They exist. It's just not put in the open where people who with power and influence can see those things. So I'm still not sure exactly what happened tonight, but I do hate the fact that I wish I could have done more for our community. I wish that Al has done an amazing job with our community. And all the points within the audit, all the items that are there, we can sit down and address them, talk them people to people. Al got those ordinances on Sunday night at 5:45, and he forwarded it to me. I'm the interim chair of the commission, and from there I tried to enact by calling you guys to try to talk to you and understand more about it. Al has tried to reach out in the past with the county and the city to get information without results and information provided back to him. We have we have emails and different conversations, that things we've been trying to do in a civil manner, but this all feels like it was just a blind side to us within the last few months. And it's very hurtful when you think people say you have frivolous expenses and they haven't seen and walked and been there to see what's really going on. We have seen that. So I want you tonight to think about things when people in our community with black mold on their ceilings, rodents, rats in the community, those things exist. It's something we don't want to see because we love our community, but there's some serious things that need to be fixed. And we have seeds of greatness. We have just started. We didn't have the money and the resources to do a lot, but we have seeds of greatness to make a big difference. Al's leading the effort across the state to talk to other HRCs and see what they're doing, and we can do a better job here in Escambia County. So those seeds of greatness are there. Thank you for your time and your effort. I wish I could have got to you earlier, and I do apologize to the county and city for not being as effective as I should have been.
Brian, you do a great job, and don't beat yourself up.
Mr. Chairman.
Hey, I make mistakes too. I may have made one tonight, but
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner
Mr. Chairman, there's morality, there's ethics, there's legalities. It's never a wrong time to do the right thing. Because I understand votes in consensus. I grew up in the Baptist church, and so we agreed to agree with the majority, whether we like it or not. But there's sensitivity and there's compassion. What we're simply saying, we've terminated this organization effective in July. You have single moms. You have a father who's taking care of his grandkids. And quite frankly, they're probably on their last paycheck today. That's wrong. We wouldn't do that to any other organization. I've seen the organizations. I've been when we've transferred visit to the other visit. I've seen when we've transferred the chamber to another chamber. I've seen when organizations have had credit card fraud and nobody was fired. And all we did was say that they locked the credit cards up and those people kept their jobs. I've been there. I think with any passion. Yeah, listen, the vote's there. But we can't send it. We would give our employees, horrible, who have committed crimes, and we give them 90 and 120 days. And you know what? We pay them 120 days and we send them home after they have had the greatest improprieties. To sit here and to give these people less than 30 days to figure out what they're going to do with the rest of their life. And we're talking about we're going to fight homelessness and we want to build tiny homes. What are they going to do tonight when they walk out other than have anxiety? Because she's not going to, I can look at her face now, because she doesn't know how she's going to pay her bills. She doesn't know how she's going to pay her bills. When they're already making minimum wage almost with no benefits, no retirement, and you're going to send these people home today not understanding where they're going to have their next meal. That's wrong. That's wrong, and that's wrong, and that's wrong. And I don't care. Everybody here, staff's going to go home with their salaries. We're going to go home and to send these people who were an arm of us. I promise you, you wouldn't do any of the other organizations like that. You wouldn't do Visit. You wouldn't do Florida West. You wouldn't do any touring. You wouldn't cut them out and say in July, y'all not getting any other money. It'd be a transition. I hope, Mr. Chairman, that after this vote is there, I'm going to make another motion that we at least continue to make sure that these people continue to be able to run this organization throughout our fiscal year. It goes through October. They deserve to be paid all the way through October, Mr. Chairman. We shouldn't send these people home in October without their salary.
Commissioner May, I like that motion, and I also think, because I'm struggling, but honest truth, I think we can do this in an efficient way in the county, but I also agree with what you said. We wouldn't do this to any other organization for that amount of money. I mean, I get it. I've heard you. Commissioner May's right. I'm sitting here struggling with it. I think Commissioner Berry did on the second vote. But I also think you don't have any pension. you maybe getting into October, Wes, I've told you, we are not getting rid of this functionality no matter where it goes.
Absolutely.
And I mean that. And I think the board means that too.
Of the board, I actually have heard the direction from the chairman, absolutely.
Mike, and I get what you're saying. I can't in good favor, in case he's out there, I can't in good favor try to save a historic hospital in an African-American neighborhood and give $2 million and then be concerned and snatch $125,000 from people's lives that's going to depend on how they're going to eat tonight. You know, let's eliminate them. Eliminate 20% of everything. Since we really like Doge and Trump and all that, eliminate 20% of everything and then start cutting it off. I mean, we can't pick and choose of how we're going to bring about efficiencies.
Well, I'll
Bring it
support the
across board.
motion to continue October. That gives us time
To October
to
31st.
actually look at what we can do with neighborhood services. I think that's definitely a fair thing that we should consider tonight.
The ordinances did anticipate that they would be effective through the fiscal year.
Okay.
What's the end of the fiscal year?
What I would highly recommend, because there are a number of housekeeping things that need to be addressed, I would highly recommend that both the city and the county get with Mr. Henderson to help plan for the exit strategy.
So what's the timetable, though? I wouldn't,
Well,
why
it'd be
would we actually do something we're not
October
going to
1,
pay
but that gives
for?
us
We
time
need
for
fed back
Wes.
to us. There's a lease with the county for the office space that is already legally effective through the end of July. If there's some need, that needs to be eked out through the end of the fiscal year. All of these details are things that I feel like the city and county, which are serviced by the HRC, should be getting with them to make the plan for this exit strategy, whether that be employment,
I don't like the
whether
word
that be.
exit strategy. That's not.
But what I like, but hold on,
mean, I
Mike.
think that's what it would be
But so
called.
Allison, so I hear what you're saying. It should be. They have inventory, they have computers, they have things that, you know what? They've already been
Correct.
accused of fraud and stealing.
Correct.
And so,
All of those
why the hell would he do inventory if he's not going to be there till July? I mean, so what's the lead? When we walk from this stage tonight, when is the last day that people are going to get paid? I wouldn't be in there moving furniture and packing boxes if I'm not going to get paid.
That's what I think the city and the county should be discussing.
I can't
with
talk
him.
about the
Do they
city.
have-
This is the county. The city ain't made one vote to eliminate the ordinance. The county did. So as a county, what are we going to do with our funding? It doesn't matter what the city does with their funding. What are we going to do with our
Sitting
funding?
down with him and figuring out, is there a caseload? Is it unfinished?
Right,
Do you have
exactly.
employees? Do you need more than the last day of July? Who owns what? Where's the computer? Where's the software? Are there issues?
Madam Councilman, and I agree with you, but what is that date? We're leaving that
If there are
uncertain.
So the ordinance anticipates that there's some existence through the end of the fiscal year. But
Which
I
is
would
when?
anticipate that somebody would be bringing back to this board, if necessary, an item if there are details that need board action, or maybe they can be.
I don't want any more board. I mean, we're not going to bring these people back out. Give these people a date is when their last day.
Can you clarify when the end of the fiscal year is?
It's
just for
September
everybody?
The last day is September.
Thank you.
And what I've asked is we give them to the end of October, Ashley. Simply that to give them time to do the transition. And that's fair.
Well, I'm okay with that piece. I'm 100% going to support you, but I don't want it. I'm not assuming exit. I'm expecting making this better. I want
got you,
people
Mike.
to understand that.
I got you.
I am not. I totally agree with Commissioner May on this. I intend on hiring FTEs to support this program in-house. Yeah, I know, Arnita, but hey, I gotta have order. I'll talk to you after that.
Mr. Chairman, and listen, we've had a tough day. I simply
I know.
want to amend
This is what happens when you're 4
I
hours
simply
in.
want to say, give them to October 31st, so they can figure out where they're going to get their next
Okay,
job from.
two
That's all.
motions.
That's all.
Let's have a motion on Cat 1-3, and then Commissioner May, I will say you make a secondary motion on what you would like to do. Is that fair?
I have a question, because I've never
Okay.
been through the budget cycle before. So how does that work as far, would we just vote like during the budget cycle to fund them for an additional month? Can somebody explain that to me?
I don't know what he's anticipating. I mean, if the idea is to bring in an FTE within the Neighborhood Environmental Services Department, that can be handled as part of the just internal departmental budget.
And
we
honestly,
can do a 30-day
Commissioner
we
May,
do it
if
every
you
day
need
on
more
contracts.
time,
We do a 30-day extension.
Look,
past
no,
the
I'll
thing.
tell you this. I want to do it right. If you say, hey, we got to give them to the end of the fiscal year so we can do it right through neighborhood service, I'm fine with that. I am totally fine. I'm not going to leave these people behind, man.
Mr.
You're right.
Chairman.
I was a little confused, but I do believe that we can do this more efficient, more warm touches in the right way. No one is going to leave these people behind. I promise you, I will be the first one up here fighting with Commissioner May if we can't get this right. I promise you. All right, Commissioner Berry.
Mr. Chairman, what if we do this? You know, I mean, Wes and Allison are in, they're in difficult positions. I mean, they do have an advantage that other folks don't have. They have a lot of access to board members, and they have the ability to talk to multiple board members. But they don't convey, to us what other, what other board members think. And some of the discussion may be, maybe kind of insightful for, for the administrator as well as for Madam Council. I don't, and I'm assuming, but I think I'm comfortable assuming this. I don't think there's anybody on our board that disagrees with what the vast majority of the folks have made comments from the podium tonight. And that, I mean, that's yourself, and Commissioner Hoffberger, and Commissioner Stroberger as well. I don't think any of us disagree with that. Certainly Commissioner May, but I don't think any of the other four disagree with anything that's been said from the podium about what needs to happen and what's important in public service and what services we should be providing in some way, whether it's through an HRC or through in-house. And Commissioner May and I have served together through a number of things that have come in-house from other entities, and no two things are the same, but there have been similar feedback that we've gotten. Well, the county can't do this, and well, I think we have done that. I think we have done those things, and when the board gives direction to an administrator, I think that they're going to hopefully take that direction. And when we do take up the issues, I think they need to be taken up somewhat in a cohesive manner. And if we're gonna go the way that I think that this item might specifically go, what do you think about maybe not taking action on this item, going back to the two public hearings that we already acted on, rescinding those votes and just dropping those items tonight, and giving
Order.
And
Got to hear what Commissioner Berry has on his mind.
Mike, I'm just kind of talking to you and our other two colleagues, and rescinding the votes that we took, just to drop the items and allow Wes to take the comments amongst us as well as the comments that were made publicly, and try to come back and tell us what he's going to do to manage this in-house. Within the next month or so. The funding, the city, I think, has given some pretty good indications that they're not going to continue funding this. I don't think that's not news, and I don't think that's something that's up for debate out of City Hall. So it's the responsibility is going to lie financially with the county. I think that's the future of these types of complaints are going to lie somewhere with the county. And I think we probably do end up in some fashion where, the interlocal will be stricken. The city's not going to continue putting money in. They, I think, have been pretty clear about that. But
I agree, and that's why I think we need to.
And that's okay. So that means the interlocal is going to be dissolved. But
He's right.
But we do. I think it's important to all of us that these activities, these services continue. Let's have some idea internally what they're going to look like. We have a community center in Brownsville, and I believe we have, I don't go there we have staff in that facility, in that brick and mortar, that are there daily, don't we? Or is it staffed with some people?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a pretty large facility. There are offices there. And, if part of the benefit of having this type of organization is the access to it, where there's a familiarity in that community that's accessed by, if it is accessed often by, people of color of whatever creed, and you have it there, if the administrator comes back and says, look, we have space, so we're going to put the activity here, and, we're going to allocate resources to fund the position. We're going to, make sure that it's, that they've got the technology there. The portal stuff, okay. You have a portal, but you got to have a human being that answers a phone and shows up to work 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And they're going to be a county employee that's going to be there every day. And that, I think, allows the county some control over it. The person is a county employee. The person now is a county employee with county benefits and the other things the other benefits and the holidays, the things that come along with being a county employee, which is a good thing. And, this is a conversation that, maybe has been popped on the administrator and the attorney this evening that may be different than sometimes you might have an idea of how things are going to go with the board, and it doesn't always go that way. So it's hard sometimes to figure it out up here, but, if we just give him a couple of, a meeting or two to let Wes put together what the plan is to replace the services.
I'll give them 6 months. I'll give them to the end of the year. I just saying we have them come back with a plan, however long Commissioner May thinks. I don't think we need to go back on the vote, because I do believe that we can I think we can do it better. I really do. And with a warmer touch. And Al, you may be the guy running it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think.
Those aren't our decisions.
I know, yeah, I know. I just said that. I don't know
I'm
who's
good
going to
with
be
that, too.
running. No,
I just don't want
I'm not on record hiring anyone. I know that. But the bottom line is, I mean,
I have been alleged to have said that.
Yeah, I'm not hiring anyone here tonight. Trust me.
Mr. Chairman, I would say this, I would welcome that opportunity to have those meetings and come back and brief the board.
So why don't we make a motion?
Well, I have a note here from February 26th, and I know that I've been discussing this with Allison and Wes since the middle of February. So we all saw this was on the agenda last month for this hearing.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
Have the rest of you not been having these conversations?
No, I
Because they
have.
knew it was coming down the pipeline.
Well, and for the record, when this came in from the clerk, just to have it out there, it came to me, and I think Legal in the West, and I asked the county attorney to send it out to all of us. Went out on February 27th, because I thought everyone needed to know that. So it isn't something new. That's correct, Commissioner Hoffberger. At the same time, I mean, I can't, I do agree. If we're going to give $2 million for corporate bailout, I want to do this internally, but I'll give them the amount of time that the county administrator can, and I think 6 months is enough, honestly. I think we can get there on that, Commissioner Barry. I really do.
Well, easily. I think that's
If that's the cover, all I'm saying is transition it out, and technically what we're saying is July. I get what you're saying, Ashley, but I've been talking about outline field 8 for 10 years. All right, so February in government time is not a lot of time, and so I get, maybe we were talking about it, and listen, I understand the consensus of this board, because these ordinances have been voted on, and Commissioner Berry, I appreciate exactly where you're going, and if that was a motion, I would vote for it. But not putting off the inevitable, because it's been voted on. But I agree with the chairman. Why can't we give them 6 months to do a smooth transition?
I'll vote for it right now. Make the motion.
And if they had 6 months to have a smooth transition and find out where they're going, that's a compromise.
I'm with you.
I'm good with that. And Commissioner Hoffberg, I just want to say, while, I mean, that is 3 or 4 months, and that's certainly plenty of time. But I think to be fair to the administrator and to the attorney, again, I think sometimes discussions, once they come here, we may, I not about this specifically, but, I may give them an opinion that I have about something, and then when you come into a meeting, as well prepared as you may be, the people may give testimony or make statements from the podium that make you rethink things. And so to be fair to the administrator and the attorney, this may not have been the way that they felt like the discussion was going to go, and it's.
Well, I can tell you, I didn't think that, but we are where we are.
Yeah.
And we got to do what's right by these people. And the thing is I think that, and I don't know, Allison, the interlocal, do we need to vote on that if we're moving forward with this?
If it were me, what I would recommend is a motion, second, and a vote for reconsideration of the 532 and the 533. If that vote is successful, then give me a new motion, second, and vote. That would be something like.
Why do I want a reconsideration?
At the moment, what you have voted for is this is going to die a death on the last day of September.
But if Commissioner May makes a motion to extend it, that supersedes it. We get to decide the
No,
policy.
you have an ordinance.
But Elton, we in contracts every day where we file a 30, 90-day extension.
Yeah. I mean, we get to decide the policy.
I get it, but you've passed an ordinance that makes this a defunct entity on the end of September, which is less than 4 months from now.
But if he makes a motion to extend it to the end of the year so we can work it internally, why can't that be
What I would
legal?
recommend is if you want us to bring an ordinance to you like in September.
Why do we have to have an ordinance? Well, we can't, but that's, if they have
Ordinance is going to govern, we have to follow our own ordinances. We can amend them and say we're going to add 2 more months before this dies, or you can
a minute and say the ordinance is going to affect December 31st.
right, but that's
I
not
missed
what
what
we
you
did.
said. I'm sorry, repeat that, Commissioner.
I said, well, can we just amend it and say that it goes into effect December 31st, so it gives them their 6 months?
Hey, just make the motion. I'll support it, and we'll figure it out, because I think we can do that. Why can't we do that?
Okay, because you advertised and made a motion and passed 2 ordinances this evening.
That said
that
it would
say
end at September
at the
30th.
end, that they're effective the end of September.
So if we
you
did
want to
that,
do a motion, a second, a motion and a second and a vote for reconsideration of the effective dates of the 2 ordinances, and that's a successful vote, then do a motion and a second and a vote that says the new date you want it to be, and we will, I think, legally be able to go back in and amend those ordinances.
So for clarification, the current vote has it going to the end of September, which is a 90-day notice, essentially?
well, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes, basically. 4 months, 3.5 months, whatever that comes out to be.
Wes, can we get this ramped up in that time?
Commissioner, I think by the end of the year, 6 months, I think we can do it.
Okay, I'm going with Wes. He says 6 months. So here's what I recommend, Commissioner May. Rescind the motion, and then we make another motion to extend it to
I
December.
can't rescind it because I wasn't on the prevailing
Well, or
side.
Commissioner Barry, will you be willing to do that? Or Commissioner Stroberger or Hopperger?
I mean, I was on the losing side of the second one, but
Okay.
I'm not a big Robert's Rules guy, but, I mean,
It
that's not
doesn't
my
have to
thing.
be perfect, but it needs to be clear what the
I
intent
make a
of-
If the
motion.
lawyers say I can make it, I'll make
Yeah.
it, Mike. I just
And
don't know.
it would-
No, I get it. You're right. You voted
It's at
no,
the
so
same
it's
board
gotta be
meeting.
one
It
of
would
us.
be super fantastic
I
if
was thinking,
someone on the
Can I do it
winning,
in the same, okay.
if you want to do both in one motion, it would be fantastic if maybe one of the other commissioners who was on the winning edge of that, of both votes, you could do it in one motion that addresses both, get a successful motion, second, and vote for reconsideration of the 2 ordinances, and then a motion that says what you want the new effective date to be for those 2 ordinances, and get a successful vote on that, and then I think we're good.
Do you want me to, I don't mind doing it. But one of you can do it. It's rescind 3.2, 3.3. We vote on that and we extend 3.2, 3.3 to then December 31st. That's the motion. I mean. Well, I can
Well,
pass
Mike,
the
if you
ga-
just pass the gavel, then you could do it.
Here, I'll just do it. Okay.
Gavel and do it.
So I'm making a motion to rescind our original vote on public hearing 532, 533, so that it wouldn't end at the end of the fiscal year. And my follow-up motion is that we would extend 532, 533 to sunset at December 31st with the conditions that the county administrator will reach out to move all the functions that Al Henderson's doing under her neighborhood services through FTE. Do I have a second?
Second.
Please vote. All those opposed? Motion passes 4-1. Thank you. All right. Wow. That was heated. I want the folks here that came here tonight to know that I heard you. I heard my colleague, Commissioner May, loud and clear. You're right, $125,000. But I also think I believe this board and the county administrator is going to do what's right by this program. If we don't, you hold us accountable.
Yeah. And I want to make a
Mr. Chairman.
comment, too. I haven't been talking about this subject much, but I want to thank Ms. Morissette, Ms. Nguyen, Ms. Randolph, Ms. Welcome, of course, Al Henderson and Brian, for being convincing. The hot dog that was sitting here, that's not the kind of stuff that makes me jump up and down and go, I'm all for that guy. But I'm for you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
and
Commissioner
so
May.
I think that we've worked diligently to work together. As my colleague to my right often says, you don't always get everything you want in a negotiation. I do appreciate the decorum, I appreciate your leadership. I don't make any apology for my passion. I don't make any excuses for my actions and my love for an organization and love for my community. But I certainly understand and I appreciate you conducting the meeting in the way that you conducted it, because had you not shown that leadership, this could have got completely out of hand tonight.
Well, I want to apologize to the people. I'm working without a computer here tonight. I'm not making an excuse, but I don't even see what's on the screen. So this has never happened before. So I think we're at a good place. And thank you,
And Mike,
Commissioner.
and this is what I would say, Mike. You know, Mike,
Yeah.
can I just say one thing to this staff?
So,
You
yeah,
know,
whatever you'd like to-
I've been here. If we decided to get rid of the administrator, the attorney, the only two people we can fire, I probably wouldn't have and fire them in a public forum. We've essentially released these people from their job in a public forum, and I'm sensitive to that. I'm sensitive to their feelings, because they got to walk out of here with their heads held high, knowing, you know, that they don't have a job. And so, to me, it's not necessarily the action, it's how you enact the action toward people, because at the end of the day, we run for these offices because we love people. And we care for people. And so even if you don't like me, you have a different political party, you don't look like me, I'm concerned about your feelings. And so to the staff, thank y'all for y'all service. I think y'all
Al,
have done a great
thank you.
job.
Yeah, I
And
mean that
appreciate
from my
it. And the
heart.
best
And
of luck.
Brian, you too.
Best of luck in, you know, where you go from here.
Thank you. Okay,
you,
we
Mr.
got to move on. We got quite a bit. We're going to go back.
Oh, no, we're going to be all night. We say past 8 o'clock.
Did we, and I got to go
I
back
promise
because
you.
I don't even know. We voted on the 534 public hearing, did we? Okay, so we're at the clerks and comptrollers report. Madam Clerk, if you would like to share that with
For
us.
sake of time, I got 3 items on the consent agenda. Thank you.
Okay. Are we done? Do I have a motion to move the
I'd
clerk's
like to
report?
make a motion to move the agenda forward.
Second. Mike.
Okay, please vote. Motion passes 4-0 with Commissioner May off the dais.
Mr. Chairman, can I clarify who made the motion, who seconded? I couldn't hear with all the,
I think Commissioner Hopperger motion and Commissioner Berry second.
thank you so much.
All right. We moved all 3 items? Okay, we're at the GMR. Horace, come on up. I'm discombobulated tonight. We're at 5:45. Thank you.
Yes, sir, 545. This is to council, the rezoning case Z24-03.
We have no speakers. To have a motion to move GMR 545?
Yes, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please vote. Motion passes 4-0 with Commissioner May off the dais. We're at 546.
546. This is to review and adopt a small-scale map amendment, 2025-02, to review and adopt.
Okay, there's no speakers board.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please vote. Motion passes 4-0 with Commissioner May off the board. We're at 547.
547, again.
Hold on one second. I think I have Meredith Bush. All right, do you want to speak? Okay, Horace, go ahead.
So 547, this is to review and adopt a small-scale map amendment, 2025-03, to review and adopt.
Okay, with Ms. Bush waiving, unless there's any questions, I have a motion to move 547.
Is it 547 or 548? I'm sorry.
Well,
547.
547.
Okay, I'm sorry. Move the 547.
Okay, second?
Second.
All right, please vote. Motion passes 4-0 with Commissioner May off the board. We're at 548. Meredith, do you have any comments on this? You can tell I'm trying to move on. No. All right. Horace, 548.
548, to review and adopt an opt-out request, 2025-01, to review and adopt.
Okay, there's no additional speakers. Do I have a motion to move 548?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, please vote. 548 passes 4-0, no additional speakers. We're at GMR, we're at 2 GMR action items.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
Horace?
Final plat action for Cedar Grove Townhome permit. Final plat.
I'm looking, I don't believe I have any what's that? Okay, no speakers.
I'll make a motion to move it forward.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, please vote. Commissioner May, did you vote? Motion passes 5-0. We're at GMR 3,
Consent agenda.
and there's no speakers. Do I have a motion to move the consent agenda?
Move the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, please vote. Commissioner May. Motion passes 5-0. We are now at the county administrative report.
Mr. Chairman, there are 16 items on the technical public service consent agenda. There are no changes. There are no speakers.
Actually,
Move the technical and public service consent.
Second.
Mel, did you sign up on count 1-1? Okay, I'm sorry. All right. Okay, was there a motion?
I moved the technical and public service consent.
Okay, please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, there are 34 items on the Budget Finance Consent Agenda. There are no changes. We have, please hold car 2-33 for a speaker.
2-33. Okay, do I have a motion to move the balance?
I make a
Move the
motion to
balance.
move the balance.
I'm sorry.
Okay, is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, please vote. Okay, Commissioner May, you're slowing the draw. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, our speaker.
Speaker is Dick Rizzo.
Okay, Mr. Rizzo, come on up. Man, this has been a tough one tonight.
Is there Mr. Rizzo still in present?
Is Mr. Rizzo still in the room? Okay, Mr. Rizzo appears to his leave, so I need a motion to move 33.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Okay. And we're at the three car, right?
Yep. One recommendation, car 3, concerning the acquisition of real property for the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, voluntary home buyout.
Okay, is there any discussion? There's no speakers, right, Jose?
Mr. Chairman, I move the item.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, please vote. Motion passes 5-0.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I think all we have for, Allison, County Attorney's report.
There are 3 items remaining on the county attorney's report. I am asking to drop item 3 based on your discussion about the HRC. We will bring that back at a later meeting if necessary. Items 1 and 2, I understand item 1 has a speaker. That would leave item 2 for a motion.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, please vote. CAT item 1-2 passes 5-0. CAT item 1-1, I'm sorry, but yes, Mel, you're up here.
Thank you. And Chairman Kohler, I turned in a form for Kevin as well on this one.
Yeah, he's up next.
Oh, he's, okay,
Yeah.
Okay. There is a lot of nonsense going on in politics these days. And one of the big ways that I don't fit in Pensacola is I do not hold grudges. If I'm still angry, irritated, politicking and lobbying against somebody for a long time, it's because I don't feel like they've done the right thing. Chairman Kohler, I couldn't have ever imagined a time that I would sit at this podium and be grateful that you were chair.
Thank you.
And I'm grateful you're chair.
Can you repeat that? I'm going to record
Now,
that.
I wish, look, I'm saying, I have, when people are doing a good job, people who have been opposing them need to admit that, because when you don't do that, that's when personality politics start to rule. And this does connect with this item, because, all right, have your fun, change it. This is a nonsense moment in American politics, but there is something serious about this is what happens when people get about rewriting history, okay? Labels, names, books, things that are written, movements, they mean something. So politicians can seize the moment and say, okay? People see what's going on. And so I heard you at a previous meeting say, well, governor executive ordered it, and if people took orders in this country, part of your strength is that you were a military leader, and quite frankly, you make a much better commissioner, and you're getting much better than a lot of the mistakes people make when they elect military leaders who then can't get away from that top-down structure. You're not in a chain of command now, you know that. And we didn't used to be governed by executive orders. And there's no reason to be running so quick with this thing and, we got to do it right now because, DeSantis has lost his mind. Trump, so do this. But I hope that and you are, I believe, invested in all of your constituents, for those of us that don't like this garbage, but more important, for those of us who see some of the things that are happening. I was trying to get up to this podium because I knew you did not understand what was going on with that. I wasn't politicking.
I own it.
So just slow down and don't be implementing all this crap that's coming from DC, because they're about ready to, this isn't going well for them. Start being Pensacola again and not Trumpville, please.
Thank you, Mel, for your comments. Kevin, you're up if you'd like to speak.
Kevin Wade, 413 Southeast Boblets. Burn the books. Yeah, no, please don't. Please, please, please don't. Don't put money to something as ridiculous as this. I don't know how often I get somebody who goes ahead and says, hey, you, we call you Moses. We've seen you down there talking all the time. Well, all those politicians down there, they're all crooked or stupid. Okay? There have been, Commissioner Kohler.
I like the Moses thing, Kevin.
I think Mel's right, I screamed the first few times you spoke. I screamed very loud when you were angry that you were knocked out of rotation to be the chair. So I was like, that's not smart. Some people here remember that when the 904 area code went away in the west side of this state, millions and millions of dollars were wasted because every business had to go ahead and make new stationery, had to put out they had to advertise, they had to put up new billboards. For what? You're like, okay, right now the 904 area code is running out of space where it is, and there are people that are having to go ahead and change. And sure, we got progress, all right? Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico, it was named Gulf de Mexico, it was named because it was a trade route to get to the Aztecs in the 1600s. Might as well rename it the Chicxulub for the meteor that struck it. And basically, 33,000 years ago, 33 million years ago, whatever it was, okay? We're talking about a body of water that's been essentially, figures about 300 million years. What do you need to change the name for? This is absolutely the greatest waste. When we got all the discussion over the human rights thing. Stop it. That is retarded. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And I'll never forget that Moses comment. I can assure you I like it. All right, team. We know this is an administrative thing. There's no cost involved in this. Do we have a motion to move this forward?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote. All those opposed? Motion passes 4-1 with Commissioner May voting no. All right. Where are we at, Allison? We're done, right? Except for, okay, hold on. Commissioner May, you at the beginning of the meeting wanted to talk about community support funds. Is that still the case?
No, the attorney has told me that she's worked it out with the clerk's staff, so I was under the impression that it had not been worked out, and I couldn't put anything on the agenda, so I guess I can.
Come on, man.
Now,
Give me a break.
I guess it's worked out.
Every time you come in, I let you put something on the agenda. That's not fair.
It's been a weirder night than that, so.
All right, y'all. What a hearty meeting. I appreciate the spirited debate all day. Man, I'm exhausted. I've done marathons either. But this adjourns. Thank you, everybody.